What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back, guys. It's our final show of 2024, and I am very excited because I have so many good people with me today. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe what you want for Christmas, what you're hoping from Santa Claus. Of course, I'm looking like Santa Claus today. This thing's a little restrictive, though, so we'll see how long that lasts. We're going to do some fun warm-ups today, of course, as well. We've got Hot Toys news to talk about, 6 scale, pop culture, all of the good stuff. I also want to talk a little bit about typecasting and roles because I've seen Ella Purnell talk a little bit about that. You might recognize her from Fallout and some other cool shit, and she's been making some interesting comments, and I think it's worthy of discussion. But guys, of course, with always, we are going to get nuts for you today, so stick around. If you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get 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 nuts? Want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. So I have to admit, we were on time today. We started the show 6 minutes ago, except that I didn't click the live button. So Pete, my favorite person from across the seas, was here. We were talking, and then I realized that we weren't live. So I feel like a little deja vu. Pete, good to see you back.
Hey, Ben. Hello again.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no. It was funny. You were
So
talking
funny.
about your hat and that you might not last the
Yeah.
show. I wore
right.
OFAC. We came back on Thursday last week. If you haven't checked us out, I'll do a shameless plug for OFAC The Return. And I wore a Grinch hat the whole way through. And yeah, man, I was sweating. But yeah, it's all good. So that's why I didn't think about wearing my Christmas hat today, but I thought, no, I've done my bit. I'll let you take on those duties. But yeah, and it's a busy week because I had to hit this show. It's the last Let's Get Nuts of 2024. Had to be here, absolutely. And I shall probably see you on Tuesday at the awards show for CW.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Good one,
Beautiful.
long one. But
Yeah.
I always bring a couple drinks. Well, I think last year I actually got like a little too tipsy, to be honest. But I started forgetting what my nominations were. So I'm going to do some homework this time maybe. But man, I was so, as you said, Pete, it's been at least 3 weeks that I've been since the last Let's Get Nuts. It's amazing how, doing the show, you get used to the repetition of it, and you get used to kind of, hitting all the buttons and making sure everything's working right. And as I said, I was red faced when I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even hit the live button yet. Like, what is happening?
Me and Ian hadn't been on our own show for 6 months. So how do you think we felt?
100%.
Although Ian did manage to hit the live button. So
He did. Yeah. Rusty for sure, but I love to see that we already got at least 20 folks watching live. I'm going to say hi to all you guys here in a couple minutes once I introduce, of course, all of our lovely guests, because we do have Santa Claus in the chat with us this hill. We got Dave, X-Men Supreme, with us again. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome back. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys, Pete, Ben, everybody in the chat. Yeah, just a good old jolly time out here.
Jolly time. Love to see it, buddy. And is your Santa Claus in reference to Wolverine, or is it in reference to how Jack Skellington says it? Or no, I should say the Oogie Boogie Man says it.
I thought about that. It's certainly Wolverine, but I do like that it can go either way.
Love to see it, buddy. That's awesome. Welcome back. And I do have good news for you. You did not demonetize us last week. So it turns out you can swear quite a lot on the show.
I can push further.
But wait till at least the 5-minute mark. We're only a couple seconds away. So good to see you back, buddy. Thanks for being here, man. Now we got another special guest in the house with us today. He just hit 5,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, which is awesome to see. Great dude in the community. Does a lot of unboxings with his daughter. She's lovely as well. We got one Adam 12 back in the house with us again. Looking crispy with that display in behind you, buddy. How's things going for you today, man? Oh, we got you muted. I don't know if that was my fault or yours, but where are you?
Hey, Ben, there we go. We'll do it
Hey,
live.
we hear you.
First of all, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that stuff to everyone here. Pete, great first time
Cheers,
streaming
Adam.
with you, and
Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah.
Dave, many times streaming with you, and we're doing a double header tonight. But Ben, I want to thank you because you gave me a big shout out. I think I had 20 subscribers, and 15 of them were my family. So and now we're at 5,000.
Yeah.
So that's a great
Congrats.
day. We crossed 5,000 today, and just
Love
looking
to see it,
forward
buddy.
to joining you guys and for this very special end of the year holiday episode. So
Hell yeah, man.
let's
Hell
get
yeah.
to it.
I'm happy I could help. If I could even get you one subscriber that wasn't family, that was worth it for me. So 100%. I remember when I first started streaming, I didn't have much of a community yet. Most people in the community had no idea who I even was. And so, I'm putting videos out there and I'm putting them on my Instagram and everything. And I was getting maybe 15 to 20 20 views a video. And they take a lot of work. I would say that I was still putting just as much effort back then as I do now. And yet nobody was watching them. So it's the way she goes. And you know what? Even still, sometimes the algorithm is bonkers. I worked really hard on this DeLorean comparison video the other day, and 300 people worldwide watched that video. So not very many. So it's the way she goes. So either way, we don't do it for the views. We do it for the fun of the hobby and talking about the cool stuff. And I'm so happy to have you guys all here on the final show of 2024. So let's definitely start the nutsing time. You guys can work with me and we'll workshop that a little bit. Guys, holiday show today. I wanted to start off with 2 warm-ups today, but this is kind of the fun, quick warm-up. I was looking at this screen. It popped up on my Instagram the other day, and I was like, man, I think there's an argument for blue pill and red pill here, but I think if it were me, if I'm taking a look at this today, I gotta say the Nintendo 64 still stands out most in my heart. While the PlayStation got me really into video games. I remember playing Twisted Metal, I think it was, on the PlayStation 1 at one of my dad's friend's house. He was a rich dude who had a PlayStation before anybody I knew, and he let me play that game, and I thought that was the craziest shit ever. And then I remember my mom had said, if you get a B+ average, not shooting for too high of a marks here, obviously, if you get a B+ average in grade 7, we'll get you a Nintendo 64. And I worked my ass off for that B+. I got that N64, and I played the hell out of that machine. I loved it, and one of my favorite games to this day is Zelda Ocarina of Time. So while I now am gluten-free or celiac, so I can't eat Taco Bell anymore, and I love Ace Ventura, it's the N64 that sways me towards the red pill. But I'd be curious, Adam, I'll start with you, good sir. What, on this slide at least, speaks to you the most? If you had to choose blue and red, what would you choose?
Yeah, I definitely have to go with the red pill as well. I love the N64. I love that Ocarina of Time. My favorite game for that was GoldenEye. My 2 favorite games, GoldenEye and Pod Racer, Star Wars Pod Racer. Loved playing.
Love that game,
spent
dude.
many hours playing those games. I actually, at some point, I think, I don't know, maybe when my nephews were 6 or so, I was, wasn't playing it as much as I used to, and I gave my system to my nephews. And I asked them last year, hey, you guys still have that? No, they sold it.
They sold it? Oh, wow.
They sold
That's
it.
hardcore.
They sold it.
Bastards.
I gotta be honest, I was a little disappointed in that because I was thinking if they're not playing it, I was actually thinking, hey, maybe I'll get it back. But they sold it.
Wild. I don't know if you knew this though, Adam. So I think it's a PS4 and I think probably PS5. If you have either of those machines now, you can actually download the Star Wars pod racing game, and they updated the graphics on it a little bit. So it still feels very much like the original, but just with some updated controller work and a little bit refinement of the graphics. And it's super fun. I like it's same old love for that, because I also loved Rogue Squadron. I don't know if you guys ever played Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I played that.
That
too.
was one of the first games where I really truly felt like a fighter pilot in the cockpit of those vehicles. And wrapping your harpoon around the the big guy with the, I can't remember the AT-AT or AT-AT, I think is what everybody says. I call AT-AT for me. Maybe it's a Canada thing, I don't know, but that shit was super fun. So Pete, what resonates with you here, buddy, in this list? If you had to choose blue or red?
What's the bottom one on the right? I can't make it out.
Billy Madison.
No, I've never seen that.
Film.
So I'd go blue. I can't really talk for the TV networks because they're a bit different over here. I'm sure that there's shows on both that made it over onto one of our channels. Taco Bell, I think we've only just recently been getting those over here, but I'm not a fan, so I'm a McDonald's man. I love the N64, and I think if you're talking, say, if you took the top 5 games from that and the PlayStation 1, I'd probably go N64 because you've got GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time. There's some great games, but I think the PlayStation for me, Tomb Raider. First Tomb Raider. I'm not sure if the second one was on PlayStation 1 or 2, but Tomb Raider was fantastic, and I spent a long time playing that. Ace Ventura, absolutely love. I actually love the second movie much more than the first one.
When Nature Calls?
Yeah, it cracks me up. But obviously you can't have the second one without the first one. So, I'm blue pill. Absolutely.
Blue pill. Love to see it. So we got one red. No, so 2 reds and 1 blue. Right, Adam, you were red?
I was red, yep.
Yeah, so 2 reds, 1 blue. Are you the tiebreaker, Santa Claus? Tell us about it. Where you at?
I'm a blue boy. I was always a McDonald's kid. I know it doesn't look it, but the first video game system I bought for myself was a PlayStation.
Hell yeah!
In '98. And I got Tomb Raider and the South Park friggin' what was it? It's like a Wheel of Fortune kind of game.
I don't even remember that one.
Oh yeah, and Ace Ventura, I revisit that so much, so much.
Yeah.
But really, what really did it for me was Fox Kids, because I was up there watching X-Men, man. Oh yeah, all day, baby. X-Men, Spider-Man, yeah. Oh yeah,
fair enough. And again, there's a good argument for both lines here. So I just this was a hard choice for me. It's just that the N64 just really truly gets my heart for sure. But guys, let us know, blue pill or red pill. I'm watching your answers full through in the chat here. Let us know. But I also need your help on the next warm up before we get into the topics of the day, because of course, as you guys know, it's the holiday season. I don't wear this hat normally. I know it's fashionable, but not normal for me. But what I was curious about, now what I'd love to hear from you guys on the chat, as well as my lovely esteemed panel here, is Christmas time. It's of course coming, and I don't know if you guys are the same way. I don't always rely on my loved ones to get me Christmas presents. Sometimes I'll actually buy my own figures and wrap them and put them under the tree
I've never done
that I've got something to open on Christmas. So right now I've got the Batman Begins suit wrapped under the tree, because I've got the Jackson Jew cowl, like the custom cowl and cape coming for that figure.
Nice.
And I got that figure for free with the promotion there a week or so ago.
Oh yeah, I
the
saw
black
that
suit.
Yeah.
Well, because the black suit Superman and the Batman were out, and I already had that figure.
Yeah.
So I got it and I flipped it immediately. I got about $400 for it, and so I was able to pay for that Batman. So that was really cool.
Nice.
Cool.
So I'm only really out on the Jackson cowl, and Krug, the Exo 6 Krug figure, literally just showed up on my doorstep right before the show started. So I'm gonna wrap that one up. Put it under the tree.
Get out of there! Get out of there!
Are we talking Exo 6 later, Ben?
A little bit. If we get some time. So for sure. But the question really remains, and I want to hear from the chat as well. 2 questions. And Pete, I'm going to start with you first. If you had a holiday figure, a 1/6 scale figure, kind of like we see with the Grinch here, what would be the 1/6 figure display for your collection? And do you have any Christmas presents that you're either excited about or buying yourself to put under the tree this year?
I don't tend to buy Christmas presents for myself. Now, I used to when I lived at home and had a lot more disposable income than I've got now with a family and a house and all that sort of thing. There just so happens that I've got a figure that has just been dispatched yesterday, which might come in time for Christmas. I probably won't bother to wrap it and stuff, but it's it's a little overkill. I realize. Yeah, the latest Deadpool, the regular release, so just without the gold pistols. So it might not get here. It's coming from Kit. And his stuff's been taking about a week. So as long as it doesn't hit any Christmas shenanigans like you're having at the moment, Ben, then hopefully it'll make it before Christmas. That'd be a good thing to open up and play around with over Christmas. display wise, it would have to be Kevin and the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
The closest
Yeah,
we've got
good
is NECA did some 6-inch ones in the clothes, and my son's got those up in his room because he absolutely loves the two movies. But I have seen custom sculpts of the of Harry and Marv and stuff like that. So that would be the one I'd want to put together. I think that'd be fantastic to have in the display. The only thing I have got that's Christmassy is my John McClane custom.
Nice.
And he has a little Christmas hat on in December. So yeah, Home Alone, definitely.
Very good. Very good choices, good sir. And you know what? As I said, I advocate for wrapping the gifts yourself. I know that you know what's in the wrapping, but it still feels a little like old school Christmas. Action figures at Christmas were always my favorite. I still remember like the Christmases where I got Power Rangers or, Playmate Star Trek figures, or like those were always Ninja Turtles, Batman's, like so many things, right? Back in the day. So,
it was all the original Star Wars for me back in the day.
Hell yeah, buddy. But I'm excited for you to get that Deadpool in hand, because that was actually one of my favorite figures of 2024. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. So
yeah, it does look great. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Hell yeah, buddy. 1/6 Scale Man Leal's in the house with us. He says, I need that Dave with hat accessory and Ben Thomas 2-pack. Love to see it. Leal, tell me, what do you think accessories would need to come with my figure? Hopefully there's a joint in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was
put it
say
out there. But whatever you think, though. Whatever you think. This or that. Dave, what do you think, buddy? What would be your Christmas display if you could set up a 1/6 scale Christmas display, your ideal one? And is there anything coming for Christmas that you're hoping for or buying yourself? Let me know.
My Christmas present should be arriving tomorrow, and it's that Revan. Well, I never thought I'd see the day, right?
Hell yeah, dude.
Man, I'm excited for that.
Nice.
But as far as a display, I've always, not always, but since I started doing 6 scale, I want 6 scale gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
I got the NECA stuff. They're bigger than 6 scale.
Yeah.
But I want 6 scale. I want properly sized gremlins to terrorize my figures. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Get a little gizmo in there in a backpack. Man, that'd be so cool.
That'd be awesome.
I'll put them in Laura's backpack when she comes in. Shoot.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. It's crazy you mentioned gremlins, because I at Halloween, so not Christmas, but at Halloween, I did a like this pumpkin festival thing, like pumpkin carving festival that I went to, and they illuminate all these pumpkins, but they bring in these crazy artists to like take not just one pumpkin, but like stacks of pumpkins and carve huge images in these pumpkins and light them. And one of my favorite displays was a gremlin pumpkin display. They were freaking amazing, dude. So remind me to show that to you afterwards. I'll send you some of the pictures, because they were wild. But I haven't watched Gremlins in such a long time, and I've never really thought of it necessarily as a Christmas movie. I'm not gonna lie, but I
such a Christmas movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Hell yeah, I gotta add that to the repertoire, I think. We got How You Figure Justin in the chat with us. He says, let's get nuts, baby. Love to see it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to watch it, but Casual Fridays are becoming one of my favorite live streams to watch, because most Friday evenings I'm at the point where I'm so dog tired from work all week that I just need to just chill out. And not only does he talk cool stuff about figures, but he also just engages with the chat so well that he's just hilarious to watch. He's just so engaging. There was one point where he called me out in the chat, and he's like staring into his screen, and he's like, Ben, I see you. I hope you're watching. And it was just like, it made me laugh. So Justin, you're the man, buddy. Keep it up. Keep that show up. That's a great one. But yeah, Casual Fridays, subscribe to How You Figure if you get a chance. Really, really good dude, and great show. Adam, same question for you, buddy. Christmas display. What would be your ideal one if you could make a pick? And do you have anything coming for yourself for Christmas this year? What are your thoughts?
So I actually did get a Christmas figure this year. It's the Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. Cool. And she has that Christmas sweater. She's not. I don't have her in it right now, but that's a nice Christmas display there. Christmas came a little early for me. You can see behind my shoulder the Back to the Future 2 DeLorean, which I don't have Marty McFly, but I have it set up with another great time traveler, Mr. Wade Wilson. So he's subbing for Marty. So that was a little early present, and I have a few other figures. Having a channel now, I tend not to. Once they come, I don't unbox them right away. I wait till my daughter's free, and then we can. And it makes it a little more special too. So I have like Bane. They're stacking up now. Bane, and thanks to Dave, he talked me into getting She-Hulk. I got She-Hulk, and the new Deadpool. And then I have, it's not a 1/6 scale figure, but I'm a big Transformers fan, and I have the YOLO Park Generation 1 Optimus Prime coming this week, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
And in terms of something I'd like, kind of along Pete's lines, I would love to have a official Hot Toys or InArt, some company, do a John McClane from Die Hard. I would love to have that figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Heck yeah, I would. There's so many good Christmas movies, dude. I love the John McClane idea. I really love the Home Alone idea because, like, just as a 3-figure trifecta, that could be such a great display. I always watch on Christmas Eve. It was always a tradition with my dad to watch the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation movie. And drink a rum and coke and watch that with him. And I think, the main, like, Clark with his cousin in the leisure suit, sipping eggnog. I think that could be a funny display as well. I would love to get a Grinch figure as well. I think Grinch would be really fun to add in the display there. But I mean, you said She-Hulk. I keep seeing people talk about the She-Hulk, and it was one that I wasn't gonna buy just because, like, I didn't hate the show, but I didn't like love it either. But I really liked what Tatiana looked like, in not only just as a person, she's awesome, and a great actress, but also how cool she looked as She-Hulk. I think it would make a really good display. And I actually shout out to Bob Dylan, saw him post on Instagram the other day a way to modify the outfit a little bit to look more comic inspired.
That looks pretty good.
Without cutting it or anything like that. It was just like he just folded it strategically, and it looked freaking really good. So I was like, maybe. And she's green, so you could add her in to a Christmas display. Maybe futz it in a little bit. So
that's the main reason I'm getting is because the comic, my love for the character from the comics.
Hell yeah, for sure. Blair Dad Life says my Savick got delayed from Side Slow. I don't think it's Sideshow, honestly. I think it's Exo6 getting their figure stock over to Sideshow, if I'm being honest, because it does seem like Exo6, when you order directly from them, they seem to get their stuff out pretty quick. But once it comes to Sideshow, there's that huge delay period. Because my Beverly Crusher has been delayed now. I got the delay notice for that, and my TNG Picard got delayed as well, same day. Through Sideshow, so we'll see how it goes. But at least Sideshow uses DHL service, not Canada Post, because I don't think Canada Post people are ever going to go back to work. I've got my in our Batman at the border. He's been at the border since November the 5th. Since November 5th.
Oh my gosh.
November the 5th?
Jeez.
Yeah. And then what was my other figure that I've got at this? Oh, my Geordie LaForge from Big Bad Toy Store. They shipped through Canada Post, and it's also been there since about November the 10th. So I'm really worried they're just going to get like lost in the mail.
Yeah,
so
that's a long time.
Not, but I wanted to share my Christmas tree display with you guys. I know it's not close enough, but if you could see it closer, there's things like Sonic cartridges in there from Sega Genesis, tons of little figures that you can get from Walmart. Now I love the Walmart places now where you can get all like the little old school retro things, right? So I got a game controller in there and all the fun things, and then of course Star Trek representing of course in behind there. So,
yeah, I did that.
All those posters.
Thanks, man. Yeah, they were really cool. And I can't remember. I'll try and remember to share where I got them from, but they have a huge selection of display. I've got a third one, which is actually Lost. And I know, for better or for worse, Lost for me is one of my favorite shows of all time. Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Where are we watching it right now with my daughter?
I love Lost, man. It's so good.
Yeah, me too.
It's so good. If we can't learn to live together, we're gonna die alone. Brings tears to my eyes every time he says it. So, before we get to saying hi to everybody, because we got almost 40 people watching us live, thank you so much for getting nuts with us on a Sunday. I know we've had a couple weeks off, so it's great to see you guys all back here having fun with us today. I wanted to talk a little bit about Ella Purnell, because not only is she wonderfully beautiful and awesome and a great actress, she made a couple comments recently that I think were taken a little out of context, a little overblown, if I'm being honest. But she mentioned kind of in passing in one of her interviews that she feels like she almost needs to stop being video game characters, because of course Fallout is a great video game and her presence in that show was fantastic, and she recently voiced Jinx in the Arcane television show. And I don't know if you guys saw it. I posted a video of my thoughts on that, non-spoiler thoughts. that Arcane show has stuck with me now for about 3 weeks. I can't stop thinking about it. It was such a good show. The music, the soundtrack, the art style, like insane. I didn't even know she was voicing Jinx, though. I didn't know until after the fact. And actually, Haley, is it Haley Atwell?
No,
yeah,
Haley.
no.
Freaking, I can't think of her last name.
She played
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's Haley's last name? Help us remember. But
Steinfeld.
Steinfeld.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
She was her sister Vi. So powerhouse actresses, obviously, in these roles. But I was curious what you guys think, because what she said is, I feel like I need to stop, being video game characters because I'm worried about being typecast. And once you're typecast in a role, it's hard to sometimes break out of that. But my argument, if I had the opportunity to say it to her, if she watches Let's Get Nuts, let's be honest, would be, don't stop. You're amazing at what you're doing. And if it's growing your fandom, if it's growing your popularity, in my opinion, I think it should feel worth it. But I also understand that acting is a job. It's also an artistic talent, and people want to branch out a little bit and try different things and not necessarily get pigeonholed. So for me, I think she should stick with it. If she's doing well and her career is progressing in a great way, who cares about being typecast? But there's lots of actors over time that we can think of who have been typecast in roles who do honestly have a hard time kind of breaking out of it. I think of, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, right? Like, I hate to say it, but even to this day, every time I see that actor in a movie, I still think of Harry Potter, whether or not he's playing like a farting zombie, basically. Like, he's still Harry Potter to me, but is that a bad thing or not? So, Pete, I'll start with you, buddy. What do you think about, actors feeling typecast in roles? Is that a bad thing, a good thing? What are your thoughts?
I think she's still relatively early in her career. I would have thought she looks quite young. I don't know how old she is, but so I don't think she should worry about it for now. Obviously, Fallout was really successful, and they've got the green light for the season 2. So I think stick with it. That's only going to get you into more people's, television sitting rooms, and catch the eye of other producers and stuff. So I think it's a bit early to do that. And the thing is with voice work as well, that's completely different, because a lot of actors do voice work, and as you say, a lot of the time it sort of goes unnoticed unless they've got a really, really identifiable voice. Quite often you'll watch a whole movie and then you'll see at the end and you'll go, oh, I didn't know that was them. So I don't think that that's the same issue. I think when you've got your face to a character, yes, you can get, you could get typecast. But I think, she's too young to worry about that. She's
only 28.
So she's still got a long career ahead, and I think she just needs to concentrate on. Although this is a very kind of fantastical sort of comic book series, she can still show that she's got some great acting chops, and I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, I can't wait for Fallout season. 2.
Hasn't it got Macaulay Culkin joining them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Speaking of typecast actors, right? I mean, he even had a hard time getting away from his own role.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So it'd be funny to see him.
I can't wait. I wish that there were more seasons of Arcane coming. I know that they're looking at exploring the rest of that universe now. I never played League of Legends, so I didn't really expect that I would connect with it as much as I did. No. But it was phenomenal.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's on the list to give it a go.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Quick special shout out before I go to you, Dave. We got Classy Thomas, SpongeBob SquareBalls, in the chat with us. He says, hello, guys. Welcome back to making Sundays nutty again. You love to see it. Thomas, I would love to have you back, buddy. So as soon as you are ready and feeling like you want to be on, let me know, of course, in our chat. You are always welcome here. Your seat is always open for Classy Thomas. The show's been significantly less classy in the last couple of months.
Absolutely. It needs to. We need him to bring us
Dave's a sweet guy,
check.
but I don't know about Classy. Dave, what are your thoughts, maybe, here on Ella Purnell's kind of, again, maybe taken out of context slightly by the media and everything, but saying, maybe I should step away from comic book or I should say video game style characters. I don't want to get typecast. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd like to begin by saying, again, to those who have not seen Arcane, it is the best show you have never seen.
Cool.
And now moving on from that, I think that typecasting is Well, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because there are a lot of good properties out there that someone can be typecast in. And she's not in a bad spot for that type of typecasting.
For sure.
But also, if you want to spread out into anything else, it's problematic when it comes to casting directors and the people in suits who have no business making decisions, which, let's face it, are all over the place. When they don't have the capability of seeing someone as anything else, which is a huge folly. Those are the only times where it's a problem. As far as the public is concerned, nobody that's a fan of anything, I think, has a problem with people being in one thing and then being in another thing. Until it's like when you announce that Ben Affleck is going to be Batman, right? Or when you announce that Heath Ledger is going to be Joker. That's when people have problems. But nobody cares about that, so it's fine. And then they get a chance to prove you wrong, which is wonderful. So yeah, no, it can be good, it can be bad. I think it's probably a little bit of both, depending on what the actor wants to do, depending on what people will take out of their path of travel as a result. It's hard to say. There've been a lot of really good typecasting.
For sure. Because I think of even guys like Dave Bautista, right? Who's recently lost a ton of weight because he's just getting older. Mm-hmm. He's like, having that kind of muscle mass on my body is just getting to be impossible. Like, it's not healthy for me to do. But when the new DC universe was kind of coming to fruition and people were like, oh, who could be a Bane? Immediately people are like, well, Dave Bautista, right? Because he's huge and he's hulking. And guys like The Rock, like how often does Dwayne Johnson get cast in roles where he's just a muscle bound dude because he looks like said actor, said role sort of thing. But that must be frustrating in itself. I mean, frustrating until you look at your bank account, I guess.
Yeah, when you get $50 million for Red One.
Like, how frustrating can it be? So, but I can imagine, as I said, depends on how much you've gone to school. Like, for example, Elizabeth Olsen, she's wonderful, right? I love her acting abilities. She's wonderful as the Scarlet Witch, but she's like a professionally trained actor. Like she went to school for it and everything. Like, she's professionally trained, and she even said, as much as I love this character, I do still want to do other things. I don't want to just be seen as Scarlet Witch, right? But even still, all of us fans are like, no, but you could definitely come back if you want to. Adam, what do you think about typecasting and roles and Ella Purnell's comment here?
Well, first of all, this is a show, Arcane. I did see the first episode. I thought it was pretty good, and my daughter loves this. And in fact, over breakfast today, she's telling me, "Dad, you gotta watch it. You gotta keep watching it. It is so awesome." She loves this show. In terms of typecasting, it's not new. If you're in a genre actor, you just look at George Reeves, the original Superman. He may have taken his own life because of typecasting. Shatner and Nimoy struggled for a number of years. In fact, Nimoy wrote a book, I Am Not Spock, until he finally changed his mind. I am Spock. So, listen, I think number one, cream always rises to the top. And I think if you have the skills that to move beyond a genre show, eventually you're gonna find that opportunity and get that. But the other piece is, if you're whatever actor you are, you're Ella Purnell, I think of an actor like Clancy Brown. Do you know who Clancy Brown is? He was a character actor. He is a character actor. He most recently been seen as Sal Maroni in The Penguin, and he was in The Highlander. He was in
Man is Everywhere.
So guys, I mean, just if you pull up IMDb, you probably pull up 300 entries into his resume, and he's mostly been typecast as a heavy, as the villain. Yeah. I bet in person he's a sweetheart, but but you know what? I'm sure he would love to be in an Academy Award nominated role in a film. Every actor, that's probably every actor's dream. But at the end of the day, these roles, they get you a summer home. they put a roof on your house.
Mhm.
You know, they pay your kids tuition for college. I think sometimes you got to be happy that of the income that you get for these type of jobs, and steady income and beloved fans. Someone like a Clancy Brown, people are like, I love that guy in that role. He's always the bad guy. Ella Purnell, you know, people love the stuff that she's been in. So, you know, I think of someone like the guy who plays Daryl Dixon in The Walking Dead. He also does a lot of video games,
Norman
and he's
Reedus.
smart.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I got a good thing going here with this Daryl Dixon. I'll keep doing this until they tell me, no, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, look cool on
And
the
I'm sure
motorcycle.
he's living quite comfortably because of that.
Of course. Yeah, good. Well said. And, you know, I was thinking of, when you were mentioning that actor who plays kind of heavy and maybe he's the sweetest guy, you know, I was thinking about the late Tony Todd that we just lost recently, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of Tony Todd, you think of Candyman, who's a just horrifying character, right? But I've seen interviews with Tony Todd, and I've heard Robert Meyer Burnett talk a little bit about his interview time with him, and saying basically like he was like the sweetest guy ever. He was just so thankful for any role that he got an opportunity to work in, especially in Star Trek, Candyman, and all these others. And you know, like you're right. Like, you know, sometimes we see these folks and they're like, oh man, he's scary, or man, she's weird, or you know, like what's Johnny Depp's? I think either ex-wife. Was it Johnny Depp's ex-wife?
Amber Heard.
Not Amber Heard. No, sorry, no. Tim Burton's wife or ex-wife.
Oh,
what
Helena
the heck
Bonham
is her
Carter.
name? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she's always the weird and twisted one, right?
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
always plays similar roles, but she does it great. So again, she's probably a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So. Well said, panel. Well said, chat, guys. Let's move on because I want to get into the 6 scale stuff. We got so much 6 scale news to talk a little bit about here. We're actually going to start with something that's not technically 6 scale, but before we do, I think it's worthy of saying hello to our channel members, all of the Tough Nut crew that's here. I have updated all of your little member badges beside your name. So as you can see, some of you guys are Bub Nuts, some of you guys are still Live Long and Nut Spocks, and so on and so forth. I'm very excited to see you guys continue to transition up. We've got somewhere between, or I think we got 39 channel members as of right now. We keep flexing between 39 and 40, somewhere in there. So thank you so much for sticking around, guys, and being a channel member. As soon as we hit 50K, we're very, very close to 50K on the channel now. I'm going to do 2-figure giveaways there. So stay tuned. They'll be going 1 to channel members and 1 to the chat of that show. So I'm sure that'll be a big one. But guys, let's say hello to everybody as we always do.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Love to see it here. We have in the chat with us Noble Young getting his chat in first and foremost. You love to see it with all the emojis. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. X-Men Supreme in the channel membership, on the panel, and in the show. You love to see it there as well. We got Valkyrie Magnus, one of my favorite folks to chat with after every video I post, always giving me some great comments. Love to see you here, buddy. He says, good afternoon, Ben Thomas. The panel, let's have fun live stream today. Can you imagine if somebody was like, let's have a horrible live stream? Like, I don't want to have any fun.
Yeah.
No fun at all. That would suck, but you hate to see it. We got Pop Culture Relics in the chat with us as well. Luis, love to see you here, buddy. And I'm going to mention at the end of the show today, guys, I'll share a link. Luis has been working on a collection tour for the last month or so, maybe even longer now. He let me know today it's ready, and it's being posted this afternoon at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I'll post a link at the end of the show, and I'll put it in our chat comment as well. But guys, make sure you go and check that collection tour out. We always see it behind Louise, but we never get a chance to see it up close, and I honestly can't wait. It looks like a wild collection. So stay tuned for that. We got Ryan Dean here with us as well. Good to see you here, buddy. He says, what's good, Ben Thomas Show? And you find folks in the chat. Hopefully everything with insurance is going well for you, buddy, and you're getting some of that money or figures back as well. I know he had some figures stolen from him recently, which is just devastating before the
Horrible.
holidays. So hopefully things are working out for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got King Ding-a-ling in the chat with a Bucky's logo in there. You love to see it. He's in the spirit of getting nuts, of course. One of my favorite logos to wear in all my videos that I do. It's also like my comfy home sweater. So, you know, you got, that's why I do change. I promise. I wear other clothing, but Bucky's, he says it's a good one. So we got 1 out of 12 with us here in the channel, in the pat, and on the membership. Good to see you, buddy. We got Clint Strancer. No, am I saying that right? Strassner. Clint Strassner. That actually sounds like a spy name. That's a cool name. Good to see you, buddy. That's a new one here, but I'm happy to have you in the show with us. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. We got Clinton Martin in the chat with us as well. Howdy, folks. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got Blair Dad Life, one of our channel members, as well as, of course, one of our favorite community members. Good to see you, buddy. Happy to have you here with us. We got the 1/6 scale man in the chat. Layal, good to see you, buddy. Can't wait to get you back on the show, especially in the new year. Let me know when you are free, good sir. He says, Ben Richards should have gone through Fantastic Four reshoots right now and not be streaming. He says that my logo looks like I'm Ben Richards. I'm like, I'll take it. You know, it's better that or like, Ben, you look like shit in that post. So I'll take it. Thank you, buddy. Good to have you here, man. We got Jermaine Haslam in the chat. Says, how's it going, Ben? I would love it if Hot Toys made Caesar from the modern Apes films. Good call there. We're actually going to be talking a little bit about Caesar later today in the show as well. We got Collection Obsession here in the chat, channel member with a nut fun. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got Darth Tamaris in the chat with us as well. What's up, Ben Thomas Show? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Make sure you go and subscribe to the Darth Tamaris YouTube channel. Really chill dude. Talks a lot about collecting as well. The recent video I watched of his, he was talking a little bit about some of the do's and don'ts of being a new collector. And I thought there were some really good points in there, man. So yeah, keep up the good work. We got Badfish in the channel, or I should say in the show with us. He says, hey boys, have a great show. Gotta catch the replay, so I will be back. You love to see it, buddy. Love to have you here, man. If you don't already know, sometimes Badfish joins me on the Collecting Weekly live show on Tuesday nights. And you know, he really likes Doritos, which I don't hold against him, but he's a sweet guy.
He's a top guy.
So
yeah,
happy to have you here, buddy. Mitchell Lawrence in the chat. What's happening? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got Jose G Hernandez. Hello, everyone. Here to watch my most watched show on YouTube. Let's get nuts. He sent me a screenshot. You know, they have the Spotify Wraps. He sent me his podcast listening wrap, and in there, Let's Get Nuts was his most watched podcast of 2024, with over 600 hours of view time. I was like, man, even I don't like watching my own show that much. So thank you for watching, buddy. That's amazing. I appreciate your support. Jose Plus actually has a YouTube channel now as well. He actually just had one of his first live streams. I think it was last Saturday now. I won't even pretend to say the name because I'm not Spanish enough to try and eloquently say it, but it was a really good show with Marco and Gigi and those guys over there as well. So make sure you go over and subscribe to Jose Plus if you have not already done so. Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. We got Aaron Broverman here. He says, probably going to have dinner soon, but just wanted to say hi and drop a like. Dude, thank you so much for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. Hopefully you get a chance to watch it on the replay because we're still going to be getting nuts for at least another hour and 15 minutes. So it's going to be pretty wild. We got 12-inch Moose Stream here in the chat with us. Good to see you, buddy. We got to get 12-inch Moose Stream on the show here at some point. He has put up his hand to come and join the panel one of these shows. So I'll definitely reach out to you in the new year, buddy, and we'll get you on the show because I've been enjoying seeing you on some of the other shows there as well, of course. We got How You Figure, of course, Justin in the chat with us. Let's get nuts, baby. Good to see you, dude. Thanks for being here. We got JB in the chat. He says, Picard and 89 Batman currently in transit. Hell yeah, dude. That's going to be a good Christmas. Hopefully you're not struck by any postal strikes or any of those things as well, like me. We got Reverse Zeo in the chat. Look at the epic panel. Dude, good to see you here, man. Thanks for being here and supporting the show. And big congratulations to Reverse Zeo. He just got married recently as well. Beautiful wife. And happy to see you happy, buddy. So, you know, congratulations.
Congratulations,
there.
yeah.
Of course, man. We got Justin McFly in the chat with us as well. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Happy to have you here. Let's see. Did we catch everybody? 12-inch Moose Stream using his 11-month membership chat. Love to see it. He says, "I'd be Haley Steinfeld's sugar daddy." Just need more sugar. Well, if you stop buying so many figures in 1 week, you would probably be okay. But it's this or that. Haley Steinfeld, lots of figures.
He's gonna have to fight Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills. They just got engaged.
Good luck. Oh my god, good luck with that. Yeah, geez, you hate to see it. We got one of our greatest channel members as well, and friend of the channel, Brick Artemis, here with us. What's up, everybody? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Brick has an amazing show as well and channel. So, and honestly, if you think he's kind on the panels and in the live shows, talk to him in person, because he's a huge dick. No, I mean, I'm kidding. He's a lovely guy, lovely dude. I'm very, very happy to have you here as always. And he's always on Wolfpack Wednesday, again, one of my favorite shows of the week. There's literally just not enough days in the week. I try to see all the shows. I'm starting to run out of time in the evening, guys. So, but love you, Brick, and all of you folks that are here. Thank you for being here, getting nuts with us on a Sunday. Let's keep the show rolling, though. But just for some really quick housekeeping, as you guys saw, I update the member badges beside everybody's channel membership name. I'm going to read all those names at the end of every show. You'll also see that on my Ben Thomas Show videos that post every week, I always roll credits at the end of those videos, and your member names are in there as well. So if you like seeing your name up on the screen after watching an episode, become a channel member. I'll put the link in the comments there below, but no pressure. Otherwise, I just like having you here watching us for free and having a good time. This is what I wanted to talk about very, very quickly. Oh, Ella Purnell got added in twice. You love to see it. Look at that. She's eyeing these up. There's a bit of a joke on Collecting Weekly right now, because a couple episodes ago of the Collecting Weekly live stream, I said that I think my tinfoil hat theory is that a lot of figures that are cause babies seem like they become hot toys. And Zach told me that was the craziest thing he's ever heard. But then Dean came to my defense, Dean the Dream Sweet Martin, and says, well, no, actually, he's kind of right. There are a lot of figures that are cause babies teased and then become figures. And recently we saw that Hot Toys was kind of planning this tease of Squid Game figures. And everybody was like, I hope it's an actual figure and not a cause baby. And then they showed cause babies. And so I'm curious for you guys real quick around the panel here. What do you think the chances are that we're going to get a Squid Game figure, a 6-scale figure? Do you think we're too far beyond that show now? Like, do you think that there's still going to be that temptation to buy these if they do come out? And if so, would any of these characters stand out to you as like a one you'd actually want to buy? Adam, I'll start with you, buddy. What do you think of the possibility of seeing a Hot Toy Squid Game figure, and which one would you want if they came out with one?
100% we're going to get figures, particularly they may time it with the I think December 26th-ish. The second season comes out on Netflix. Personally, I like the first season. I wouldn't get the show, but I could see my daughter wanting. She loves the show, and I know she did some cosplay as one of the contestants. She's got like the green jumpsuit. I could see getting her one of the guards as a possible figure.
That would be cool. I think with the guards, you'd have to have the swap out plate, because depending on what PlayStation button you like playing with most, that could be the mask that you use, right? So, yeah, 100%. No, well said. Well said. Would you go after the main character or the black mask guy with the phone, or you think more just the guards would be
I think one of the guards. That I'm just gonna that little cause baby thing with the black mask. That's creeping me out, man.
It's creeping.
Like, I can see that like on my desk. Just I don't know. That's freaking me out.
That's fair. Dave, what do you think, buddy? What do you think the chances of seeing a Hot Toy figure come out for the Squid Game line? And do you think we're too far past it now? Do you think the hype is diminished, or do you think with the pending season 2, the actual the hype is kind of building again? What are your thoughts?
Well, we're too far past Moon Knight, and here we are.
True.
We didn't Bad Batch figures start coming out or start getting announced around the time that season 2 was starting, or is it?
Yeah, I think you're right, because the outfit was changing. Because the outfit changed with season 2, and everybody's getting Bad Batch. We had 1 version, right? I think you're right. Somewhere in there, anyways, it's pretty close.
And then if you ask Dean, well, they're cost babies, so of course they're going to be 6 scale. I wouldn't doubt it. it's still a popular thing. People still talk about it. I feel like Hot Toys would probably, they'd be missing out on some money, I think, if they don't do it. I don't care until I hear that, they've added the X button. So until that happens, I really am not interested.
That's your favorite controller button. You hate to say it. Yeah.
I feel like they're personally attacking me by discluding the X button. So hey, you can't be loved by everybody.
Can't be loved by everybody.
It's the main button, isn't it, for PlayStation? The X.
That's the main action
Yeah.
button, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Dean the Dream Martin because when the show first came out, the season 1, he loved it and he immediately got a custom made. He actually reached out to a customizer and had one professionally made, and he spent a decent amount of money on it. And then a third party version came out shortly after for, I can't remember what it was, $150 or something, but it just devastated the guy because he was like, oh man, I put all this time and money into sourcing this and getting it all custom made, and then boom, there was a third party representation that a lot of people did actually get. So that's the other part of it, is when I say is there a need for this in people's collection, I feel like for the folks who really wanted a guard, they probably already figured out a way to get one, whether that was third party or custom route. But what are your thoughts, Pete, on Squid Game season 2 coming and this announcement now for these Osbies?
I did enjoy the first season. I'm not so sure. I mean, I will be watching the second season, but obviously that kind of element of surprise is gone. And I don't know whether or not, obviously, we're going to venture outside of that environment now, because we're kind of getting into, working out who's behind it all and everything like that. So they've got to change it up a bit. It's got to be different to the first one. I've never had any real, inclinations to own any figures. It's not that. I say I enjoyed it, but it doesn't resonate with me personally, and obviously there's nothing there outfit wise that really sort of grabs me. I think to the point about Cos Babies being a kind of portent to 6 scale, it's happened before. There is precedent for it, and often the first time you find out the Hot Toys has a license is through the Cos Babies. Now, sometimes it doesn't go any further than that, but you would imagine that if they've paid for the license, that they'll want to get a bit more, as Dave said, get as much revenue out of it as possible. And I think it's strong enough that people will buy it, because I was really, I mean, they do come out with some surprise, the One Piece figures, they were quite unexpected. So I think that it wouldn't surprise me at all if we got a few characters in 6 scale. But yeah, not for me.
Oh yeah, not for you. For me, I would say kind of the same. I really liked the show, and I did think that the pink outfits would definitely stand out in a collection. But even if they come out with them now, and even if I love the second season, I don't know if I need to display it. It's a cool show. I don't know if I need to display it. I actually did like the reality show that they came out with. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I thought that they did a really good job of replicating some of the magic. I thought it was fun.
And it was
for as fun as a reality show can be, right? I mean, again, it's obviously some pretty inspired drama that gets added and everything, and they try to cliffhanger you week to week. But I thought they did a pretty good job.
It was entertaining. Yeah.
For sure. Guys, let us know in the comments, or of course, if you're watching on replay, are you interested in seeing if Hot Toys makes a 1/6 scale version of Squid Game characters? And if so, what one would you put in your collection? Make sure you let us know in the comments, okay? Guys, let's move on here because we still got lots more to talk about here. I want to talk a little bit about the possibility of the Captain America Winter Soldier coming. Potentially Artisan. It's hard to say at this point. On the slide here that they've teased us with, they haven't said that it's Artisan by any stretch yet. And I know that some collectors out there had identified that in past versions of Artisan, I think it was the Jack Sparrow, they actually put on there a different different way of saying it, of something like, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something along the lines of premium version or something along those lines. And that doesn't show on this slide either. So I do worry just a little bit that people are getting a little overexcited that this is going to be an Artisan new figure, and maybe it won't be. And even if it isn't an Artisan figure, because you got to remember the Beetlejuice wasn't technically Artisan, but it has a hair piece, and Chewbacca is technically not Artisan, but it's covered in hair. So just because it's not Artisan doesn't mean it can't be spectacular. I think that there's definitely room for improvement over the previous Winter Soldier version from Hot Toys. So for that, I'm excited. But I've also seen this kind of collective community outcry recently of saying, you know, there was a time where it was I'll wait for in art, and now I'm starting to see that shift to I'll wait for Artisan. And so now we've seen this pop up, and I gotta say, I'm very excited with that stealth cap that came out a couple weeks ago from the same film. When that released, I was like, well, they better give us a Bucky Barnes, new update, because it needs it. And here it is. But I'll say it also kind of looks like pleather. It doesn't necessarily look like they've upgraded a ton. I doubt it'll be a die-cast arm. It looks painted. It doesn't look metal. So there's a couple things that could be great, and there's a couple things that could still be concerning. Pete, that old figure did have a horrible amount of peeling issues.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the reason why they, collectors move that on over time. What do you think about this figure popping up? Do you think that there's the possibility of this being Artisan and they just haven't highlighted that yet? Is that even important to you? And what do you think they're going to do with this upgrade?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this. When did they tease this? It wasn't at the same time.
A couple days ago now. No, this is a couple days ago now. Yeah.
I mean, obviously from that picture, it's very clearly is not sculpted hair. That's rooted hair. But as you say, whether or not it sits under the Artisan or not, and I think that again within art as well, I think there's been a bit of some stuff's great, some stuff's not. They're still both using, they wouldn't call it pleather, but some sort of artificial leather, on parts of the outfit. So we're not getting 100% kind of premium materials that should last forever. So people are already worried about belts and stuff on Aragorn and things like that. Hot Toys, their Dial of Destiny Indie's going to come with a leather jacket, but I don't think anything else is. The belts aren't going to be leather. I think the shoes are meant to be as well. But I think they need to kind of go all in. If it's going to be your art, it's going to be the best. Make all of the stuff. The absolute top quality. But yeah, it's interesting they've chosen this. I mean, we're in the world of 2.0s. That's what 2024 I think will be remembered for. And I don't know what they're kind of, how they're choosing the IPs that they are. And I wasn't sure whether, I didn't think that Bucky was a particularly popular figure, or even a character. I know a lot of people, like it. It's not something that I've never owned this one and haven't really had the inclination. But again, the arm should be metal. If it, why not? They've done it with RoboCop. They've done it with 3PO and stuff. That to me would be. I mean, obviously, if you've got the old one and it's doing this, it's just falling apart. Then you kind of, you've got to go for this new one. But I think if you want people to step up and upgrade, then you've really got to make it worth it. And I think a die-cast arm would be the first thing you'd need to add to it.
I have seen some collectors say, though, if it was a die-cast arm, would it be oddly weight distributed then? Like, would it be able to stand as a result without a figure base? Because I display all my figures behind me without. But...
You could. I'm sure you could weight the other side of the body somehow internally
100%.
If they really wanted to.
If they really wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. And like looking at that old figure that I had just popped up there, it's interesting because, again, when I say I think that there was definitely room for improvement there, I see that, like the paint applications now are fantastic, especially like when you think about the Hot Toys version even of the Pattinson Batman with the, the kind of the leaking paint around his eyes, right? Like from the sweat. That looked amazing. And like, that's something that he's got here similarly.
Oh, absolutely. I think, it's night and day.
I think with either wool implantation or rooted hair or whatever they go with, I think that's going to look pretty good, especially under a mask. They definitely, I should say, I really freaking hope it's leather, because like you can see here, even from this photo, like they're like, whoever's selling this on eBay, $305 US, and it's, look at this, just destroyed on the arm. It's just like coming apart at the seams, right? So without like actual leather, I think that would be a bit of a miss for this figure. but also proportion size. So one of the things that I really noticed seeing those first pictures are the proportions are just they look very much like a figure. Whereas nowadays, I think that they've really dialed in the proportions of traps and shoulders and torso and all of that. So I'm excited to see their kind of what they do. That's for sure. So let's take a look here. Let's start with you, Dave, as well. What are your thinking here on this potential for an artisan figure? Does it even matter to you? Would you have been okay with a sculpted version of this character, just an upgrade? What are your thoughts?
I'm not buying it either way. It's just doesn't fit my collection. But a lot of people have been wanting this for a long time, and I feel like if they don't make it artisan, that's probably good, because a lot of people, more so than what are gonna be able to get their hands on an artisan, are gonna want this. So they would definitely be. I guess it would make more money if they made it less restricted in number. When you look at the sales overall, I suppose if they sold like 1,000 more at a more regular cost, maybe. But again, yeah, it doesn't have to be artisan to have the wool hair. Beetlejuice has 2 sculpts with wool hair, and I don't know that anyone cares whether it's wool hair one way or wool hair another. I don't even know the difference. What's the difference? Wool hair is wool hair, right? Like I'm not yanking.
They've just either glued it on, or that they've like stitched it into the scalp. But
yeah, see, look, I'm not yanking the thing off no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna be so rough with the thing that it's gonna matter how it's applied. It's gonna be there.
Totally. So
I don't know what artisan, like, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot with Beetlejuice. Like, people were already kind of like, what does this even mean before that?
Yeah.
So if they want to go that route, though, it would be cool if they had this guy with 2 sculpts, one with the mask and everything, and one without.
They need to have
that. Would be a good idea.
100%. Yeah.
I don't think that. At least looking at this arm, it just feels like it's a rubberized arm, like it's silicone or whatever it is. It doesn't look like it's actually metal, right?
No.
Like, it doesn't have that eye feel that metal normally does, you know? That's not to say that it isn't. It just doesn't, not based off of this. And I'm like, you know, where's that bicep swivel if they're doing it, you know? Like, maybe it's just photoshopped out and that's just all it is. I don't know. I've never had a Winter Soldier figure, so I don't know how they really tackled that in the past. I just assume that it's jointed and everyone's okay with that. But it definitely needs to not be pleather. Like, this needs to be the highest quality that they can make it.
Yeah.
Because they're giving us stuff like, you know, Terminator, who's not an artisan figure, who's got leather. They gave us the Wolverine recently that has leather. He's not an artisan. They even kind of let that sculpt down a little bit, but they still gave us leather on the jacket. Sure. They need to make their higher end line mean something. And if this is going to be artisan, it needs to be all leather, everything.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it should be die cast or something. Yeah, I would like to see a full on actual Winter Soldier arm, you know? Make those joints do like they're supposed to do with the panels that are on the arm. Move how it ought to move, you know? Put some real engineering into this thing. I think that'd be crazy, dude. That'd be insane. Imagine if they did that. They won't do it. But imagine if they did
what they can do with an Iron Man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Put that kind of R&D into an Iron Man.
Yeah. They could engineer the hell out of this arm, and it would be the hottest hot toy to ever sell.
Totally.
100% based off of that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Great thoughts, Dave. Real quick side note, we've got 50 people watching live right now. If you don't mind, guys, I always forget to ask if you can hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Definitely really helps YouTube just recognize the show for people out there. I saw one comment here from, I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize. Is it Jagron? Or is it a
Lane.
soft J?
It's
a little
lame.
soft. Is it? Oh, I know
Yeah.
that. Lane. What a guy. What is it? Is it Wagron or is it Jagron? Too. He says, "Man, I want to punch YouTube to not show me the stream for the Ben Thomas Show madness." I hate to say that. So yeah, if you like the video, it helps to pump it up for everybody else there for sure. Akira mentioned here, I don't mind if it's not leather as long as it's the artificial stuff is well made. I don't want dead animal skin on my figures. Fair. That is fair, and they do have that Darth Vader figure. Remember, that had the like synthetic material, right?
Mm-hmm.
That looks like leather, but it apparently isn't going to flake like leather.
Well, they make leather car seats out of that stuff now, so it's it's definitely durable enough.
For sure. And guys, I got a special announcement to make. We just had somebody join our panel in the backyard here, in the back stream, back of the house. Some say he's a celebrity now. He's well known in the community. Some say he's classy.
Oh,
and so let's bring him out here. We got Classy Thomas in the show
Thomas.
with us, buddy.
Oh my gosh! Look at this guy.
Good to see you, buddy.
How
you doing, man?
I was looking at the stream and saw that this was the last one of 2024, so I had to come on board and say
Oh yeah.
Christmas to everybody.
Thank you for that, my friend. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to
Yeah,
you, man. I'm happy to see your smiling face. Classy, you got to be a little quieter, of course, right now because you're still getting that chest back to full strength, right? So, but it's good to see you. I'm not used to seeing you without your sunglasses. You know what I'm saying?
I know, and yeah, I had to take another trip to the hospital, so that's why I'm.
Oh shit, he froze on me. Did he freeze on you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's looking a little bit like Santa Claus with that beard, though. You love to see.
Yeah. Here he is. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Classy, you're freezing up on us a little bit, buddy, but we caught most of it. You're pretty frozen though. I think it might be the internet at the hospital there. Did we lose him?
Are you still there?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yep.
We can hear you briefly, but you're frozen.
Yeah, but I just wanted to wish all of you a wonderful holiday with your families and friends. And hopefully I'll get out of the hospital in a few days and be able to do the same with mine. So
Hope so,
Hell yeah,
yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
to a great 2025. And hopefully I'll be able to pop on with people and say hello and be back to normal again. So I just wanted
Hell
to
yeah.
take a few moments just to pop in to, like I said, you guys are my favorite Sunday crew. So I just wanted to make sure that I wished it to you.
What a legend.
Praise
Dude,
for
we
you.
love you, buddy.
Yes,
Thank you for
yeah.
being here.
well.
Thank you for being here, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family. too,
Yeah,
man.
I wish
Happy-
you a wonderful Christmas
Happy to see your smiling face.
and a speedy recovery, Thomas. You know, all thinking of you, man.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Well, listen,
Get back to resting. Enjoy the rest of the show, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the show.
Hell yeah, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. Merry Christmas to you, man.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the
that's awesome.
dungeon
That
up
just
for
warms
you,
my heart.
Classy.
Oh, they've brought tears to my eyes, guys. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Love seeing you, buddy.
Yeah.
Love seeing you here.
Amazing.
So thanks for being back, buddy. And yeah, Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. I know everybody is wishing that love to you there. So for sure. We also have a couple more people joining in the chat. We got Curtis Booth here. Says, so sorry I'm late. Hope everyone's having a great night. I've been dealing with Curtis a little bit recently because I was able to pick up a figure for him recently, which is cool. The Hot Toys Two-Face. He was a little bit worried because this collector here in Calgary wanted kind of money up front from him without much, indication. And I was like, well, I live in Calgary. I could stop in and take a look, make sure it's legit. So
You went and,
it
you
was
went and roughed
legit.
him. You
which was
roughed
good.
him up a bit, did you, Ben?
Roughed him up.
Yeah.
Roughed him up. So, and like his daughter answered the door. She seemed very cute. So it was a good time, So it was a good time. So happy to help a fellow collector. We got Niculio in the chat as well. Good to see you, buddy. Yo, Classy, he says, and of course Charleston Jew in the chat as well with a melting face. You'll love to see it from, of course, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. love to see it, guys. And we're sending lots of love to Classy in the chat. Thanks for doing that, guys. I know he's watching, and I'm sure he appreciates it. But without further ado, Dave, you had mentioned a couple great points here on this figure as well. I do think that with regards to the Winter Soldier, I think that over time that movie has become even more popular with Marvel fans, because while it was a great movie to begin with, and it was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Captain America film, I think as the Marvel what got on this trajectory for a period of time where people weren't loving all the content, we started to reminisce about some of the older films and how good they were. And I think oftentimes Winter Soldier comes up as that kind of sticking point, that, wow, man, why can't they all be like that movie was? It was so good. And that figure has slowly, progressively on the secondary market raised in price and more and more. I think that it doesn't necessarily need leather as long as it's not that flaky pleather shit. So I'm good with that. I liked Pete's point about this maybe being a metal arm or maybe even a swap out like they had with that Thor figure, where if you want more posability in the figure or off of a figure stand, you could have it with a separate plastic one, or if you want that metallic arm, they could add that in the box potentially as well. I think it has to come with the face covering plate, like the two different looks, or else I think that they've done the figure and collectors a bit of a disservice there. All that being said, though, last but not least, Adam, what do you think, buddy, about the potential of this being Artisan? Does that matter to you as long as the figure is good? What upgrades are you hoping to see from this?
Well, I gotta ask the question: how much for just the arm?
Just the arm? Yeah, Rocket. Yeah, love it.
Asking
I'm gonna get that arm. I'm gonna get that arm
for a raccoon friend. So,
love it.
Winter Soldier. I mean, I think absolutely, it's top tier of all Marvel movies that have been produced of the MCU so far. Certainly out of the Infinity Saga. I'm kind of, I definitely think this is going to be Artisan for sure. The way they're teasing that hair in that photo, it's got to be Artisan, I think. And as for me, I'm on the fence. I got to see what it looks like. I love the Winter Soldier. And kind of Ben, just listening to you just now, talking about reminiscing how good that film was, made me think, you're right. Maybe I do want this figure. I have 4 Captain America figures, and I have the 1.0 of that stealth suit with the civilian Steve Rogers, and this would, if it's a nice looking figure, I have Bucky from Infinity War Endgame, so having this would fit in really nicely with that stealth suit. I think we're gonna get 2 Buckys this year. We're gonna get this, and then come May, or is it May? I guess it is May or June, when the Thunderbolts comes out. I guarantee we're going to get another Bucky. That's whatever costume he wears in that film. We're going to get. So buckle up, because you're going to get 2 Buckys. Buckle up for Buckys this year.
Yeah. I can
Bucky.
see that. I actually thought we might see this version or representation of Winter Soldier actually from the Falcon and Winter Soldier show that we got there a year or 2 ago, because we actually see that flashback scene with him in being, I think, tortured by the Russians or whatever it was at the time, but he was in his gear at that point. I was like, oh, maybe I could see Hot Toys just latching on to that scene and giving us one, but never came, right? So I'm excited to see it. Let's keep on the track of Artisan as well, and I'm going to stick with you, Adam, first as well on this one, because the Moon Knight figure Artisan edition has also come to fruition. It's being put up for pre-order, as well as the Mr. Knight figure alongside it as a companion. And when I'm not gonna lie, I was on vacation visiting my mom in Ontario when this figure announcement came up, and I will honestly say I looked at it and went, F this figure. F this release, because I've got the Moon Knight in my collection. It's a great figure. It's actually one of my favorite, non-sculpted figures. At the time, I was critical of that figure, that it didn't come with a head sculpt to begin with. But, likeness rights are a thing. Maybe Oscar, who is also a Hot Toys collector himself, was critical of his own sculpt being made in 6 scale. Maybe there was a bit more of a process required. I think we also thought that we'd get a Moon Knight season 2 potentially, and it's hard to know if that's actually going to come. So I think it would have been around now that we would have been seeing, advertisement for that. So maybe they were holding off on a likeness of Oscar Isaac for Moon Knight season 2 that may or may not come to fruition. Having said that, the body itself looks like it's virtually identically the same figure with the exception of more weathering. And people, when I see collectors go, oh, it's so much better because there's weathering, I don't always agree with that. I don't think weathering just automatically means better figure. I think if weathering is appropriate for what you see on the screen, then in that case it's better. But I always just equate it directly one for one. And there are scenes of him being a little cleaner, and then there are scenes of him being a little dirtier. So I think if you have that original version, that figure is absolutely no slouch. And most collectors I've talked to can't even remember the scene where he's here with his mask off, because there's two scenes in that first series where he's in the outfit with his mask off. Most people can't even remember if that was the case or not. So the love for Oscar Isaac is definitely there, but do we need a freaking Artisan figure of it? And for all of the people like me who have that first representation, if they were going to do Artisan, my ask, or what I would have liked to see, would have been that the Artisan sculpt was actually with the Mr. Knight figure, and the sculpted version was actually with the Moon Knight figure. So then that way, if you want the Artisan figure, you can still technically buy a separate figure, something that you don't already have in your display. And you can get the sculpted version with the Moon Knight if you don't already have it. That would have been my preference, but Hot Toys be Hot Toysing. I equated this to what feels like a Chrome Mando, but I've seen some criticism of that take because while Chrome Mando was annoying, it felt similar to this. And, it was like, look how much better our figure is now. They were like, Chrome Mando was coming out at the exact same time that people were getting their Beskar Mando in hand. Whereas I've already had this for a little while. This was released from the blogger photos at least in April of 2022. But in collecting sphere, 1.5 to 2 years is not that much time. And so I feel like I just got it, and now here we are again. And I will say, I am protesting this release. I am not going to buy this figure, even though I freaking love this likeness. It's amazing. Like, when we talk about figures of, like, figure likeness, this should be up there, at least in terms of proto, for one of the best sculpts I think I've ever seen, at least from these photos here. But all of that being said, I want to pass it off to my panel here. Adam, I said I'd start with you first, buddy. What are your thoughts on Artisan? And to add to that, is any of our previous collections safe now from Artisan? When you look at every figure in your display, are any of them safe from the Artisan treatment? What are your thoughts?
I'll answer that question first.
Yeah. No,
nothing is safe. There will be any and every figure it is likely to, more than likely to, have a 2.0, 3.0. So just as long as they have the license, they're going to keep producing. So I think you have to, as a collector, accept that and decide, are you happy with what you have? And, be damned what else comes out. Or if you want to keep upgrading, it's like a car. Maybe it's like leasing a car. Every 3 years, you may want to trade it in for the new model when it comes out. So that's what every collector has to make that personal decision. In terms of, you said it, Ben, I mean, the likeness on this sculpt is fantastic. Just fantastic. And in terms of Oscar Isaac, we talked about typecasting and earlier in the show of actors. He's one of these actors that if I see him in something, I want to watch that movie. I want to see that TV show because he is such an incredible actor. Now, I was very excited when he was in Moon Knight. I thought the show, he was fantastic. I really liked Ethan Hawke in the show. Who's the actor who does Khonshu, the voiceover work? Great actor. He was in Amadeus. Named F. Murray Abraham. I thought the show, for me, acting was excellent. I thought the writing was, it didn't. I thought there were some deficits to the show, so it wasn't a perfect show. It wasn't the worst MCU show, but it wasn't top tier for me. I never read the comic, so I never had, unlike say She-Hulk, where I love the character from the comics. I never had a special place in my heart for Moon Knight, and it goes back to Ben what you're saying about we talked about Winter Soldier and nostalgia for that movie. I didn't feel nostalgia for this show, so I didn't get the first version. I'm not going to get this now. If he has we don't know what the plans are for Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars, but if they bring him back and he's got a decent role in that, we might be wishing we had this. And that, we'll see.
That's
but
true.
then, they'll probably like back to 2.0, 3.0, guaranteed if he's in one of those Avengers movies, there'll be another version of this. So just wait.
Or he'll have like blue bands on his arms.
Yeah.
It's like, new figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but
That'll
that's
do.
toys. Let's be honest. That's just toys in a nutshell, though. I mean, toy companies have been doing that forever, right?
So tired of that shit.
You're right, though. You're right. Yeah. Well said, Adam. Well said, buddy. Oh, is that your whole thought? I didn't want to cut you off there. I apologize.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Pete, what are your thoughts here on Moon Knight? Being released so soon after what feels like the other one again, April 2022, and then it's being Artisan. And that last question there is: any of our figure collections safe from Artisan at this point?
I think the first thing is just scary that's 2 years ago that it came out. It doesn't seem like that long ago. Obviously, that's not when sort of most people got it in hand, but you're still talking about 18 months ago. I really didn't like the TV show, and I will be honest that I couldn't get past possibly the dodgiest British accent since Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. So I didn't get past the second episode, and I have no desire to go back. So I've got no skin in the game in terms of the show. I do like the design of the outfit. I think it does look cool, and clearly that is an exceptional head sculpt. Now we talked about it on OFAC on Thursday. The fact that they've made the sculpt on the Artisan one look so much better than the one on the Mr. Knight, but I can't imagine that they wouldn't be exactly the same sculpt. Just obviously one's got rooted hair, but they've just lit it so much nicer on the Artisan one to really sell that portrait. Portrait looks great, the hair looks great, but as you say, I think it's a bit bad they've put the because obviously there was a third party Mr. Knight, wasn't there?
The So-So Toys and S-Hero.
So it's weird that Hot Toys have just brought that out, but they've chosen to only give you the rooted sculpts with the figure that essentially has come out before. So I think that's, and as sort of Dave mentioned, Artisan has to this point been a very limited number, very hard to get a hold of, and I appreciate the artistry and the skill, and I love the way that the quality of these head sculpts just keeps getting better and better. But I don't like the fact that they make it so damn difficult for you to get them. Not to mention, obviously, the premium price, and there'd be a lot of disappointed people that would love to get this and aren't able to get hold of it. So I disapprove of it from that point of view. Just make it available to everyone.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good point. Actually, I meant to say that about the Bucky Barnes or the Winter Soldier, because while I don't care to get this one for Artisan, I do, if they make that other one Artisan and it's beautiful, like that is one that I want. I've wanted a Bucky with my cap for a while. And that's one that I'd take the plunge on, but I hate the queue system. It's always at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me for some reason. So like, if for some reason a meeting or a work thing comes up, I just miss it entirely. And then the only experience that I've really had with the queue system so far is trying to get that Black Widow. And I've said this on the show before, don't be a Ben. Make sure you're signed into your Sideshow account, because I wasn't signed in. I thought I was. I had it all in the basket. I waited in the queue, went to hit the payment button, and it made me sign in and bogged the queue and put me back to the back of the line, and I missed that Artisan Widow figure. So don't be a Ben. But still, it was just like, if that happened with Winter Soldier with me, though, I'd be devastated, because that's one that I actually really do want. But I agree, accessibility-wise, I think that there is value in people having collections that not everybody has, right? Like when we talk about collection tours, I'm so excited for Pop Culture Relics collection tour later today, because he'll have things in his collection that I would have never even dreamed of putting in my own, whether that's 6 scale or whatever. I like when people's collections are different, and I think limited numbers of items play to that really well. Right? I got that figure and nobody else could. That's awesome. But on the other hand, being somebody that likes to get the characters that I truly want to get in my display, it is such a pain in the ass if you miss it, and then what? Then you just are automatically paying more.
I'm completely the opposite. I don't like the whole limited number thing. I think that's a statue game, and good, fair play to them. But I think just by the massive breadth of IPs out there, that you never get two collections the same, because some people, half of my collection is Star Wars. Some people don't even collect Star Wars at all. They're all Batman and all that stuff. So I think that the variety comes anyway, because there is so much to choose for and people have very different views. And I if there was a Artisan that came out that I really, really wanted, I would be pissed off if I couldn't get hold of it, or I had to pay double for it on the aftermarket. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I like windows. I like, this figure will be available in this window with this period of time. You have
that's fair enough.
It. And then once they close the window, that is it. That's the finite amount of these figures that'll be released. That still adds a limited effect to it, right? It makes them limited.
Yeah.
But also gives even the company more of an opportunity to make more money, because it's like you guys were saying earlier, what's the point of making, I don't know, 3,000 of those Buckies, for example, when they could sell 10,000 if people had a little bit of time to put their money together.
And that's kind of the model that InArt use, isn't it? That they have a window.
I prefer that. That model. For sure. It's not a snooze or you immediately lose.
Gives everyone a fair chance.
Situation. Yeah. Exactly. X-Men Supreme, are collections safe from Artisan treatment? And what are your thoughts on this Moon Knight and Mr. Knight announcement?
Well, I fear for the day that they put out an Artisan She-Hulk. I worry for that day.
Yeah, fair.
Because
it's going to be about a day after Christmas. You know that. Everybody's going to get it for Christmas. And then they're going to do it.
Because to me, that figure should have been Artisan. Or at the very least, she should have had wool hair, Because she's got a lot of hair. And it just wants to be not sculpted. So that's going to be an issue.
How good that figure is, right? Like if they redesign the body, like they put so much R&D into it already.
Yeah.
Why then?
So they're gonna do it because of that alone. The thing about Moon Knight is because I saw the images of this new one at wherever they had it on display. I know there were pictures of Secret Base and maybe it was still at Secret Base, just not with as good a pictures as the other guy or whatever it was. But I saw it taken from about the distance of what I see mine on the shelf, and I did not notice that weathering at all.
Oh, the weathering from that distance. I didn't think the sculpt looked good either in that photo, but it might have just been the angle and the lighting.
Because the thing about it is it's still a white suit, and the weathering is just a bunch of like black spackling everywhere, and the darker parts of the suit, still look darker than the white parts. I don't know. I don't see that big in the. I'm not going to use a sculpt for Moon Knight. So for me, this doesn't mean anything. I think that it's on par with the Artisan releases up till now for the most part, in that there is a regular option now with the original. The difference is that people didn't have the option up front. And that's the problem, I think, is that if someone wanted to have an Artisan Moon Knight, well, chances are they already bought the original one, and now that choice was kind of taken from them, which I think is shitty. What really gets my goat about it is the fact that when Moon Knight came out, I didn't even want a Moon Knight figure originally. I wanted Mr. Knight. I just wanted Mr. Knight. And when I saw that So-So put up the Gentle Moon I love and hate that name. When I saw they put that up, I was on top of that. I was like, yes, I want that. So I got it, and it's great. I am seeing some yellowing in the lapels.
Don't worry about it. You just roll around in the
right?
sand a little bit. Yeah.
Like I've only had this thing for a couple of months
That sucks.
since it released, and I'm like, wow, already? I didn't notice it until like a couple of days ago when I pulled them out. I was like, oh, geez, there is yellowing there. And well, now I can see it because I know it's there. But
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
but it's not terribly noticeable, and I could probably oxy clean it out. I'm gonna try to do that. But I'm gonna go after this Mr. Knight because I want a licensed one. I wanted Hot Toys to make this day one, and they didn't, and that's what I'm upset about. But I'm gonna still get them, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with the other one. Maybe I'll just, I don't know. I don't need two of them, right?
Fair.
But I don't think
Fair.
I don't think it's worth the effort of selling him off.
100%.
And who knows, if I can get the yellow out of him, maybe I won't get the new one. I've told myself to not do any more pre-orders unless it's X-Men related or it's Batman.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait this out, and I'm gonna see the reviews and everything. I'm gonna do all that, and if I decide at that point that I want to get them, then I'll get them. But I'm not gonna pre-order it.
You mentioned the pre-orders too, because I'm thinking like, man, I took a look at my list the other day, because even the collection room is just like filling up really quick right now. I just have 2 figures in the tree, like I told you guys earlier, 2 figures just in transit right now, and then I still have 13 figures on pre-order right now, and I was like, holy shit! But like they're all they're all characters that like I really want, right? Like I've been picky. I'm not one of those YouTubers that's like, I'm gonna get everything, not to call anybody out. It's just like I've never been that way. Like if I don't intend to get it, I will tell you guys 100%. Nope, not for me. But even still, like 13 more, I'm like, I am running out of space so fast. And when you add up the dollars too, that's like $5,000 I'm already into for 2025.
Yeah, I'm
and we
about
haven't
the
even
same.
seen a single pre-order for 2025 yet.
Yeah.
And so when it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of budgeting. Like you gotta put your time and your efforts in, or really, like you said, start to be very particular with maybe what line or what IP or whatever it is. Because again, even this, like I'm like, I love this. I felt like a fool, I'm not kidding, when I got that Deadpool in, because I already had Deadpool 2 in. What I was happy to see, which I will report on, is that Deadpool is actually probably one of my favorite figures of 2024. Like I said earlier in the show, it was such a significant improvement over the Deadpool 2 that I ended up selling the Deadpool 2. So I only have one Deadpool in my collection. I didn't need more, but I was like, that was one where I was like, ooh, pay for the upgrade. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. I don't know if it's different enough. And then boom, it was so much better. I was so excited for that. But like this one, this Mr. Knight, the Moon Knight figure, it looks like the same figure to me with a little bit of extra, little extra grime on there. Beautiful head sculpt. But there's so many other characters that I want so badly that are coming. And Field of Burn says it, the tariffs are coming. So,
if I could just add here, Ben, we mentioned Deadpool. I actually just got in Deadpool and Wolverine, the new Deadpool you're talking about. I haven't unboxed it yet. Came this week, and I have behind me next to DeLorean, that Deadpool is the Deadpool 1 Hot Toys, which I got on eBay last year. Decent price on that, and it's flaking some of the stuff on there, and I'm just going to use them for different poses. And probably keep the new one more museum. But what really ticked me off, is I didn't get the new Deadpool till a couple days ago. And maybe 3 weeks ago, they had a preview where they had that video of Ryan Reynolds looking at a new Deadpool with the head sculpt. Now, it's not that they're doing 2.0s or 3.0s that bothers me. I expect that. I've been in the toy collecting hobby since I was a little kid, so I know that. I don't like the cynicism of releasing a figure back in July and they knew full well that they had another figure coming out in a couple months later with the one thing that we all wanted, the option of a Ryan Reynolds head sculpt. Everyone wanted that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is everyone going to display the Ryan Reynolds head sculpt? No, but you want the option of maybe putting it on, or maybe putting it on another Deadpool figure. So that's what ticks me off, is that they do this tease for the other Deadpool with the Ryan Reynolds head sculpt when not everyone even has or had gotten the Deadpool that they ordered. That ticks me off. That cynicism about that really bothers me and leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth.
For sure. I like that they didn't at least put a post side by side to say, look how much better this Deadpool is than the one that's in the mail for you.
Yeah.
But they weren't far off from that, right? And that feeling that you had there, Adam, that is how I felt about this Moon Knight. As I said, like, I thought that they should have given us a head sculpt right from the beginning, or just leave this figure in the past. It was a great collectible. Anybody who got it, it was great. Obviously, like, I know some collector community members get frustrated when they see the folks out there that are like, I'm happy I waited people, but but don't be mad at those people, because I actually think that sometimes patience does actually pay off tremendously in this hobby. FOMO is a real thing for all of us, whether you've been doing this like me for 14 years or you've been doing it for 6 months. If you let FOMO spend your money for you, you will get bitten by the next one that comes out, and you're going to be like, man. And what it used to be was secondary market. You could take your figure and be like, that's okay, I'll just sell the one I've got, because I'll still at least get retail back for it, or maybe make a couple bucks. At least retail. If I come out flat, I'm happy at this point. Everything I've got right now on Facebook Marketplace, which is only 2 things, has been sitting for a month, and I've got them so deeply discounted at this point that I'm kind of like, I might as well just keep it. I might as well just, like, I'm practically giving it away. Catwoman is one of them. I just really dislike that Hot Toys Catwoman. She just doesn't do it for me in the collection. But I've got it down to like $200 Canadian, which is what, like $135 American. Like, I'm practically giving it to somebody. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
Under £100. That is.
Yeah. There is virtually no collector or secondary market right now that's advantageous for the seller. Buyer's market for sure. Huge. So yeah, if you let FOMO go in and spend your money for you, be prepared to lose money. And if it's not about the money, if you just like, kind of like you said, Adam, earlier, like, if you think of it as leasing figures, I actually think that that's a more healthy way to look at it, because that is kind of what it's like. You were willing to spend the money to have something cool now because you know for sure you're going to change it into something better and cooler the minute it comes out, then fine, especially if it's your favorite characters. But like, I'm holding off on buying any more of some of these characters because I'm confident that they're going to keep spitting out new ones. I also have to be, as a collector, willing to be like, I'm good with the one that I've got. I'm just good with it. I don't necessarily need to upgrade. I like the one that I've got. I don't need a different one. I'm going to spend those dollars somewhere else because they're going to give us all the Terminator people or whatever, like, so we'll go from there. And I digress. Let's move on. But guys, let us know in the comments, what were your thoughts on Moon Knight? Was this like an FU Hot Toys like I felt initially? Or did you see the benefit? Were you happy that you waited? Did patience pay off? I'd love to hear from you guys on replay or in the comments currently. I'm watching all your comments come through, by the way, guys. Thanks for keeping the chat so active. I appreciate that as well. It's fun to read. We're going to talk a little bit about Jazz Inc., and then we're going to go back to Hot Toys for the final aspect of the show here. We got about 35-40 minutes left of the show. If you're just joining us here, thanks for getting nuts with us. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you don't mind. Definitely helps the show. Keeps us all motivated to keep getting nutty every Sunday. I want to take a really quick look at this. This is the Jazz Inc. Penguin tease that he's been providing us, and I gotta say, some of this stuff that they're showing is phenomenal. These umbrellas with all the doohickeys on the ends are freaking wild. I love the selection there. The sculpts I'm not 100% sold on yet, but again, these are renders, so I'm sure that there's going to be some obvious tweaks once we start seeing actual kind of finals coming out. I love the look of the hand sculpts here, being the penguin sculpt. I think that's so good. I've got the deluxe single edition of the battle damaged version coming from Jazz Inc. of the Catwoman. I'm still pretty confident Hot Toys is going to give us a Catwoman at some point, let's be honest, but they haven't yet, so for now, I'm sticking with that Catwoman, the deluxe version. Penguin is one that I'd love to see as well, but I'd also really like to see Jazz Inc. give us a duck mobile or a duck car to go along with it. If they're going to go down the route of a penguin, I think it's necessary. But we'll keep this one pretty short, guys. But Pete, what are your thoughts here on seeing some of these initial teases of Penguin? And do you think this is going to inspire Hot Toys to go into the Batman Returns line as well, or do you think this is going to be the only game in town?
No, I think we'll see Hot Toys do Catwoman and Penguin. They've got the 2.0 Batman Returns Batman figure, so why wouldn't they? It seems to be, and they've got that crazy Bat missile out as well, which
I think's wild.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they'd be mad not to. I passed on the Catwoman figure because I think even going for like a one figure, it was still going to be something like £400 or something. Once you got the shipping in and the tax and stuff like that. So I wasn't interested at that price. And again, with this guy, the issue is that it's looking good, but if they are going to give you, you'll have the basic figure, which will probably still come in at 350, 400, and then if you want the one with the umbrellas and stuff, you'll be quickly getting up there in money wise. So I think for me, I probably wouldn't be in for the Jazz Inc. But if Hot Toys came in and gave us something that was 80-90% as good, or Jazz Inc.'s a bit unproven at the moment, so we don't know really how good their figures are going to be. But if Hot Toys came in with both of these, I would consider it, because I have got the 2.0 Batman Returns figure on pre-order. So,
ooh, me too. That's a great figure.
Yeah,
can't wait for
that. I prefer that. I prefer the cowl and look of that to the 89. So yeah, that's the one.
As long as they somehow don't dimple the shit out of it, like the
no. I hope they learn their lesson. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, and I still love that figure. Don't get me wrong; it's behind me at a distance. Like you normally see your figures from at least a foot or two away, right? Like that is gone. I don't see that really, but up close, man, that was wild.
Yeah.
For sure. No, good thoughts there, buddy. Good thoughts. Sandy Claus, I'll go to you next, buddy. What are your thoughts here on a penguin? Like Pete said, Jazz Inc., while they're putting out some pretty great images, they're not necessarily proven yet in their 1/6 scale figure line. Do you think it's worthy of collectors getting that excited about this one yet before they get a Catwoman in hand, or do you think people should wait to see Catwoman before they make a purchasing decision with Jazz? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of like being an archaeologist, isn't it? Like we don't know exactly what the dinosaur looked like, but based off of this, and this, look at InArt, right? They showed up, they talked a big game, and from what I've seen, from what people have been saying, they've been playing a big game as far as their production goes. Mm-hmm. I mean, we won't get into the whole distribution part of it.
Yeah.
But their stuff has been overall pretty good, with the occasional hiccup of a crappy ring or a missing ring maybe, or something else here and there. So I have no problem jumping in head first on the Catwoman 2-pack with Jazz Inc. They have proven themselves in many, many areas of production elsewise. They have done one figure before that, some people who had it have loved it, I've heard. I think I might have heard a couple of, issues about it. I've never seen it myself, so I can't say. I don't know. But I know that Yost is very particular about the details. And with everything that they do with the community feedback, with all of that, I think that it would be easier to put trust in a new Jazz Inc. figure than it would be to put trust in InArt for the very first figure that they made. So I'm not worried about that at all. I don't know, based on everything that's been going on at large with 6 scale, if I'm going to go after the Penguin as quickly. because, you know, a lot of things have been changing. We've been getting a lot of things hella early. A lot of things have been put up for release immediately after announcement. Like, I don't think anybody expected to see Deadpool and Ladypool come out straight away.
No, agreed.
Nobody expected to see a brown suit Wolverine, and certainly not straight away. Nobody expected Bale and Skull to be showing up like, you know, almost 6 months early, right? Revan, even though it's just slightly early, it's still early, and a month ahead of your window is insane because we're so used to seeing, at least I'm so used to seeing in my first couple of years, a lot of things get delayed. So it's friggin' nuts out here, right? It's like reading tarot cards. People swear by it, but it's bullshit. So, you know, I just don't. I don't see myself ordering this, at least straight up front. Maybe later. I don't know how a lot of other people are going to do. I don't know what shipping is going to look like from outside the U.S. in another, you know, few months. Nobody really does. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. I may stop buying Hot Toys if all that starts happening. It may price me out. I don't know if you're paying like half of the cost of your figure in friggin' import fees. What are we doing? You know, what's going on? So
Dave says I might stop I might stop buying Hot Toys fees. My initial gut check is this.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
But I think this looks great so far. I think this looks great so far. I'm really excited for it. I
better
love
with the wispy hair.
what they're showing us.
Right? For sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And all the different types of blood on the sculpts. Got the red blood, got the black oily blood.
Yeah.
Green, whatever it is, that's crazy, man.
Black. Yeah. I never really understood why he had green blood, but then they never really. It's just because penguins don't have green blood either.
I don't know either.
But that's fine. Adam, let's go to you, buddy. So the other thing that Jazz has shown us is a tease for Vicky Vale to go along with the 89 Batman. They've shown some other things too, but these are the only two that I put up today. And I mean, she looks beautiful in this rendering as well. Like, holy crap. But we just finished talking about kind of like Dave said, like the escalation of figures, the change in schedules, trying to keep up with the money, trying to keep up with figures that we need versus ones that we would want, and our ideal displays. And collectors reach out to me all the time, Adam, to say, well, Ben, what do you think? Should I get this figure or that figure? And I'm always like, well, what does that nostalgic punch in the chest tell you? Like, if it means something to you, it doesn't mean something to me. I can't tell you that that's the right figure to go for. For example, you may say Vicky Vale has to come into my display because, oh my God, I absolutely loved her in 89. But I could hit or miss on the Penguin, or maybe neither of these. But the collector community as a whole, we hype these things up because they're cool. We are excited to talk about it. We're not trying to influence people to buy. I don't get anything out of whether you buy or not. Like, there's no benefit to me there. I just think they're cool. But because we think they're cool, it's also easy to be like, oh, Ben got excited about it. Now I kind of feel excited about it. And now I kind of want it. And now you spent money that maybe you shouldn't have. So my question for you is, seeing Jazz now get in the fold with 6 scale, are they too new to be investing this kind of much money into yet? Or do you feel like, what Dave said, I have confidence in them? And how do you balance, what character you get from other 6 scale, collectors out there, not just Hot Toys? Because with all of these in the mix, oh my God, like I don't even know how anybody keeps up.
I think they've definitely proven themselves from a diorama and vehicle point of view, and I've got the Falcon cockpit behind me there. But obviously, they did do the Vulture, but that was more of a kind of collaborative piece between other companies and things. Where this is their first in-house figure, the Catwoman. So I think for me, it was very much like In-Art until In-Art's Joker came out and they proved that they could deliver on what they were promising. Then that's when you go, okay, yeah, I think I can pre-order the Aragorn or the Gandalf, and I think the same will be here. That Catwoman has to come out amazing, because otherwise it's really going to kind of hurt that
Shoot themselves in the
that
foot.
sort of future confidence on other figures. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And you, Adam, what do you think, buddy, in terms of Penguin, Vicky Vale, keeping in the 6-scale community? What do you know, how do we control this spending? How do you monitor yourself?
Well, one, I think two important things I think are very important. Competition is good. Competition clearly this year. Hot Toys, I'm not sure they felt the heat of In-Art, but In-Art brought up their competitive juices, and they definitely stepped up their game. And I think you saw it from the number of artisans, the quality of the head sculpts, to the quicker turnaround of when they announced the figures to when they released them. I think Hot Toys definitely stepped up their game.
For sure.
Second, I think transparency is so important in all facets of life. And when it comes to Jazz Inc., I would argue that they are the most transparent 1/6 scale company out there. You have someone in Yoast who, my understanding, he was a successful small businessman, made a lot of money, and he's sold his business. He's kind of quote unquote retirement, and he's doing this. I wouldn't say he's doing this as like a hobby, but it's something fun to do. So he's clearly a passionate fan, and he's creating these. I don't own any of their vehicles. The only vehicle I have is right behind me there, the DeLorean, and I just don't have space for anything else. You talked about your nostalgia factor, and in terms of what I collect, and I think probably should be for anyone, is my internal GPS of where I'm gonna make my purchases is solely based on the nostalgia factor. And I like to think of, I don't want to buy anything that's from a IP that has got to been around for at least 5 years. Now, maybe like Deadpool and Wolverine, yes, that came out this year. But those characters, I collected those characters' comics when I was in high school. So that's, it's got to be something that's at least 5 years old. Batman Returns, I like the movie, but it wasn't one of my favorite Batman movies. I think these sculpts look amazing, but for me, they're not for me. It just wasn't one of my favorite Batman films. I appreciated the film, I liked the film, but not good enough for me to be nostalgic about to have in the collection.
Totally makes sense. And again, I think that's that kind of calculus you have to do in your own mind, right? Like, do I need it? Do I love it? Do I think it's cool to look at, but don't need it in my own collection? There's so many figures that I see everybody else get that I'm like, man, that looks great in their display. Marco 166, I love his displays. Always got some great figures in there. He's got characters that I would never even buy, like for example, like NBA figures. I'm not a big basketball guy. Where I'm in Canada, we're hockey here, right? But man, some of his like basketball display is so freaking cool looking. I'm like, man, that's sweet. But there's just no chance that I would spend the money on it, right? So guys, let us know what your thoughts are on Jazz Inc. Do you feel confident, getting excited at least about a Penguin figure with the looming Catwoman coming out? Are you going to wait to see what that Catwoman looks like in display, though, before you make your next purchase? Or are you all in on Jazz Inc.? I would definitely love to hear from you guys below. We're going to talk a couple more things here, guys. We got the Caesar to talk about, Star Killer, and the DeLorean, the Mark III. We also have Plo Koon and let's see here, 2099 Spider-Man, but we are running out of time a little bit for today, so I may blow through these just a little bit faster than getting everybody's take on them. I do want to quickly ask my panel though, because this did pop up on 16Kit's Facebook the other day, and he kind of was like, holy crap, like this is amazing looking, and it absolutely is amazing looking. but I don't know what the cost of this is going to look like. I don't know if this is actually going to come to fruition, if this is a custom that's being floated around. I don't know enough details about this to very well or accurately report on it. But one question that I do really have quickly for my panelists, and if you can answer, if you've had this example, has there been one figure in your collection, maybe something like this, that you were like, I don't necessarily like absolutely love the character, but it looks so cool that I'm going to buy it, and once you got it in your display, you're like, it doesn't fit, and you've moved it on or thought about moving it on. So I'll start so you guys have some time to think about that. But my figure, honestly, was the VGM or video game series Batman Beyond figure. I thought that figure looked so good, and so good to the point where I didn't even like do my homework and read the dimensions of the figure or how big it is or anything. And when I got it in my display, he was head and shoulders larger than my next Batman figure, which at the time was the DX12 Christian Bale Batman. Literally, he basically came up to like just under Batman Beyond's shoulder pads, and it looked so weird. Scaling was just off for me. And that was back when even I was very easily influenced by YouTubers. That was a Jetta Patrol special. At the time, he was like, this is the greatest figure ever, and it's going to go out of stock, and you're never going to be able to get your hands on it again. So you better kind of figure out a way to lock it in, because this is just the coolest figure ever. And then 6 months later, he sold his also. And I was in the same boat, like, it was cool, but I sold it. What figure has come, and I'll relate this to either Caesar here that we have on the display, or even potentially the Starkiller, which is a great looking figure. But is it one of those figures that I would get it because it's cool, and then once I have it, I move it on, despite my love for the video game? What do you think, Pete? Do you have a figure like that that's come to your display where you're like, man, I love that figure, but I got to move it on. It's just not for my collection. Oh, I got you on mute. One sec. There you go, bud.
Yeah, quite a few, to be honest. I've been collecting this stuff for about 13 years now. So my current collection, I've had a lot of stuff come in, a lot of stuff go out. And I think when I first started, there wasn't anywhere near the breadth and choice of figures there are now. We didn't have these third parties, so you were pretty much either Hot Toys Sideshow or customs. And so I think as I was building my collection, and sort of figures felt a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable than they are now. I sort of used to go looking for figures to add to the collection to fill it out a bit, and we talk about it quite a lot on OFAC about these sort of one-off figures where they'll Hot Toys bring out one figure from a film or a franchise, and they never bothered to bring it, even if they solicit them, they never bothered to bring any other figures. So you end up with all these standalone figures that, for me, and it's okay if you're like Shane, or I think yourself, Ben, a lot of yours are just single figures, aren't they, in a box, whereas mine are all ensemble pieces. So for me, I sort of need figures to go with each other, so I have themed shelves and stuff. So the one that sticks out for me is the Sweeney Todd figure, the Johnny Depp. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great figure, great likeness. Came with a nice base and the chair and everything. So it was a figure that I thought, oh yeah, I need to have that. And the figure was great, nothing wrong with it. Enjoyed it, but I never had any love for the film. I didn't enjoy it and stuff. So I think you naturally have a kind of as you build your collection and you get to the point where you're running out of room, they're the figures that go right to the bottom, and they're the ones that are going to go out first. So yeah, that's the one that jumps to mind. I owned that. I had it for a while, but as more stuff came in that was released, that was real, the stuff that means stuff to me from my childhood, nostalgia and everything, then yeah, they just go. And they're easy to let go because you haven't got any emotional attachment to them. So they're quite handy in that way, that they're quite dispensable. But yeah.
Makes sense. No, that's a good one. Sweeney Todd. I never even saw that figure in hand before. Like,
yeah.
I've seen photos
and
of
it came with a little
close.
case with all the the blades and stuff. It was really nice set, really nice set. But yeah, I just kept thinking, I hate the movie. So that was ultimately why he went. But yeah.
Fair. Now, Adam, I mean, maybe you don't have one because, like, I know you're pretty calculated in your approach, and you're still on the newer side of collecting 6 scale. Has that happened to you yet, where you've put a figure in your collection because you had the ability to get it? Maybe it was a good sale online. Maybe it was just really cool, and people were hyping it up, like the Star Killer here in front of us, or that Caesar. And once you got it, you moved it on, or have you not had that experience yet?
I haven't had it where I bought a figure that there's maybe 1 or 2 figures I bought that I still love the characters, but the figure was less than than I was hoping it would be. Like Padme, I was love the character. The figure itself, I'm disappointed in. It's not the character. There was the issue with the eyes, but that's something else. No, because I think I've been pretty disciplined in how I've approaching the purchases. However, I've almost fallen off the wagon a few times because, like Darth Revan. Now I love Star Wars. That's my primary franchise, my primary IP that I buy. But I never played Knights of the Old Republic, so I wasn't familiar, with or this character here, Star Killer. Not familiar with either of these characters. But I just saw the videos and the blogger photos of Revan, and I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. I came very close. I went on like Toys Buying Agent. I went, maybe I'll get this, And then I'm like, no. And I took it out of my cart. And there've been a few cases where I got the FOMO or, streaming with everyone and you get caught up and you look at the video and then I have to think, okay, do I have a nostalgic feeling for this from back in the day? And is this something I need in the collection? No. All right. Click, not getting it. Or unclick, not getting it.
Good calculus. Because I've always said, like, if somebody came into my collection room, somebody who doesn't collect necessarily, they want to know who Ben is and what I love and what excites me. Everything in this room should be an example of who I am, not what the community thinks is cool. Right. And so like that She-Hulk right now, that's one that I keep kind of being in and out on. There's a local comic book store who has it here for $430 Canadian. So pretty similar to retail pricing. And I'm like, man, I know it's sitting there. I know I could just go put it in the display, but I'm like, as cool as she looks and as beautiful as she is, I don't have that same connection to She-Hulk. So that would be one that like I'd put in, and then probably in about 6 months when I need that display square, potentially swap it out for. I think the crazy part though is that, like, as collector community, when I first started collecting Hot Toys, I got my DX12 was my first Batman, first collectible really that I kept, and that was like a wish list item. Like, and at the time it was like $250, but I remember thinking to myself, like, man, like I'd love to have that, but I can't in any way fathom spending $250 on any toy, really, like figure, like there's no chance. And then as soon as you get one, as soon as you get two, then you got three, then you got 10, and then suddenly I'm willing to just throw around $400 for a figure that I don't even necessarily need. Like, what happened to my thinking? Like, how does that make sense, right? Dave, how many Wolverines does one need in their display? And have you
all
ever
of
had
them.
that have you ever
The
had
answer
that
is all of
experience?
them.
Repair. Have you ever had that experience with a figure? You put it in and you're like, man, I got it because it was cool, but I don't necessarily like need it.
Yeah, two immediately come to mind. But the most recent one I think is the most pertinent because I've been at it for a little while longer now. I have been loving the Mondo X-Men. That line just every time it's a hit, and I'm growing it and I'm loving it. But also, they do other stuff, like they've been doing Masters of the Universe, and they've just started doing Thundercats. That Lion-O, is so amazing. But like they at the beginning of the year, I want to say it was, they put up Orko, and I was like, oh man, this might be the figure that gets me into the Masters of the Universe line. That was a beautiful figure, and the accessories that came with it were so cool. And I was like, yeah, but no, I'm not going to get it. And I didn't get it, and I've been thinking about it a lot and wishing that I had. And then they put up Tila, and I'm like, well, okay, I'll start with Tila then. I really like that figure. That figure looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so I went deluxe because, you know, with Mondo, you tend to get a lot more for your money when you get the exclusive figure. Not
like
always.
A very slim difference of money too. Like
Yeah.
it's always like
Oh,
$15
yeah.
to $20. It's like, what? How is it that much more accessories? But yes.
Yeah, it's incredible, the difference sometimes. And so I got her, and I was super excited for her the whole time. And then I got her in the mail, and, you know, around that time, you know, all the Deadpool and Wolverine stuff had started coming up. And, you know, things have been releasing earlier, and then it hit me. I'm like, well, you know what? I didn't expect, you know, so many Deadpool and Wolverine figures. I'm going to get them, but I wasn't expecting it. And I'm like, I don't really have a place for Tila. And it's looking like I'm probably not gonna. And I got her like 2 months ago, I want to say, and I haven't even opened the shipper. I'm like,
Damn.
I don't think I'm going to open this. I may have to like move her on already because I just don't see her fitting into the grand scheme of things now. Like I was thinking about picking up like a couple of He-Man figures, getting maybe a couple of Thundercats. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, my space is dwindling.
Yeah.
And I've got Hot Toys that I'm thinking about I need to move out of the way. You know? And yeah, so I don't know. Like I could see myself easily getting down to like half the number of figures that I have currently on display and having a smaller, more concise display. Because I'm feeling that. I don't want to be like all, you know, crowded and everything. Like with a lot of, you know, bigger collections. I have over 50 figures now, and I was thinking maybe I'd get like 12. You know?
That's how she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Never mind that I've got vehicles too on top of that. So yeah, I definitely with that Tila, I it was almost an immediate switch when I got her in hand. I didn't even open her. I was like, oh, I don't think this was a good idea.
For sure. Well, and you know what? You got to respect the game. Like for the folks who say, "Oh, I've got 95 figures on pre-order, and I've got 200 in my collection," and like, you know what? Like there was a time when I first started on YouTube, you know, a couple years ago now, where it was like you weren't a real collector unless you had a certain amount of figures, just baseline. Like if you didn't have at least 100 figures, you're not a real collector. And I look around and I'm like, I think I've got 65 now, and then as I said, about 13 on order, so I'm getting close to that 100 mark. But like, there are people watching right now who have way more figures than I have, and there are some of you out there that'll have way less. It's how that collection resonates with you that makes the biggest difference. I don't care if you got 250 figures or 500 figures. If that's your ideal display, hell yeah, all the power to you. If that's where you want to put your money. If you got 12 really good ones though that represent your like movie theater room or your office display or your zen zone in your house, heck yeah too. I think that's freaking awesome. And when you can say I love it but I don't need it, man, that's a good way to go, Mehdi. Because like the one thing I'll know before we continue on is that the one thing I've noticed about collecting is never going to stop. They're always going to make more cool shit, and they're going to keep giving us even some of the old stuff revised and revisited. And it'll be it'll be version 3s of the Mark Iron Man suits going next, right? They'll all be like a rechargeable light base or something, no wires or like whatever it's going to be, like for sure they're going to go down that route. But great thoughts, guys, great thoughts, and interesting figure choices for sure. I ended up moving on my Bo-Katan as well because I really like Bo-Katan in the Nintendo series, and I really like Katie Sackhoff. She's an awesome actress, but I would actually rather have her version as a Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica if I was going to have her. And she just wasn't fitting anymore.
It's funny you mentioned that one because she keeps getting cheaper and cheaper, and I keep thinking should I pick one up, and I'm like, no, not really, because I'll just end up moving it on. I mean, I used to just buy figures just to have them in hand and have a look. Sometimes I'd keep them, sometimes I go, no, that's satisfied, that fixed. But as you say now, Ben, it's very difficult to move stuff on quickly, and
you practically have to give them away
and get what you paid for it. Yeah, so it's
You know what I do as a former Marvel Legends collector? And I say former. I'm broadcasting on my home office, but my work office is full of Marvel Legends and a lot of Marvel Legends. And I think to myself, good for Marvel
Dangerous amount.
Legends, but not necessarily for Hot Toys. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
if you figure out how much you're going to spend. Okay, Marvel Legends maybe about $12 to $20. Okay, maybe good for a Marvel Legends purchase, but not for $300 Hot Toys.
Yeah, there's always options like they're in different scales and stuff to have that
Well, and
representation.
it's also why I stopped collecting Lego, Pete, because it was the same thing. Like I started collecting Lego because I wanted the figures. Like I love minifigures.
Yeah,
And and then it's like, but then you're buying whole sets to get the
Yeah,
figures. And like,
or-
while I enjoy building the set, once the set is built, I typically deconstruct it. It goes back in the box and I
Yeah.
keep the figures. But like Lego doesn't retain its value if you don't have the figures included with the
Yeah.
box. You can't sell it for pennies. And they're so expensive, and you get 3 sets. Well, that's the cost of a Hot Toy. So then, would I rather have that Batman in Hot Toys form versus a Lego figure? Yeah. So I started doing the calculus of that, and one thing I've always had a hard time with is display. Right? Like I don't want my display to feel overwhelming. I want it to feel classy and cool and really like this is a lot to look at, but
Yeah.
it looks good, right? And I've always had a hard time displaying Lego. It's as much as I love Lego.
Yeah.
I find it hard
Yeah.
to display like in a classy way, and I've seen some great displays. Don't get me wrong, but me personally,
No, I mean
always
I've got
has been
some
the
Lego,
time.
but obviously having the Lego
Yeah.
and the 6 scale stuff, and it's difficult
Yeah.
to display. But there's things that I've got in Lego that I would never have in any other. You know, the Falcon. I've got the 89 Batmobile and the Batwing. So
Yeah.
you know, I've got those because they represent things that I am not either don't have the space or you're never going to get a 6 scale Falcon. Obviously, I've got the cockpit. But I'm happy with having the Batwing and the Batmobile in that, and not having them in 6 scale. So I think Lego can fill a gap sometimes, but as you say, it also requires quite a lot of space itself.
And cost. That shit is getting expensive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's
it is, yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Wild. Guys, let's move on. But yeah, great thoughts there. Thanks for sharing your figure. Because sometimes I've had collectors tell me like they feel a little bit ashamed. Like, oh man, I fell into the FOMO and I bought it and I know I shouldn't have and now I can't
We've
get
all
rid of
done
it.
it.
All, like
It's
all
not
done.
anything to be embarrassed
All
about.
done.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, 100%. Now, of course, this is one of those ones that might fall in the FOMO category as well, because the DeLorean Mark III is here from Back to the Future 3. To be honest, I did put out a video recently. Virtually nobody watched it. So to be honest, I don't think that there's a huge amount of interest for this car. I really don't. I love the DeLorean though. It's sweet, and I love the fact that the wheels are interchangeable for the train track tire wheels, and I think that's all great. I think that was a huge missed opportunity that Hot Toys didn't include a train track piece that the car could sit on as a part of like a display factor. I think that was a missed opportunity. And to be honest with you, I think this is probably the strongest likeness of Marty McFly. Now, keep in mind these figures don't come with the vehicle, just in case you're watching or new to collecting. They don't come with this car. I think it's the best likeness of Marty McFly, but I really freaking hate the Doc Brown hair. It looks awful. And I rewatched the movie just the other day for fun, and like his hair is really like stringy and like this. It's just not full like this in the film. So for me, it like the figures were a pass. The vehicle is a pass. While I think it looks good, my favorite version of the DeLorean, spoiler alert if you didn't see the video, is the Mark II. I loved the idea of flying cars. It opened up my imagination as a kid. And I thought, what if in 2015 we actually have flying cars? How cool would that be? And I mean, geez, like, well, we're now 10 years past 2015, and unfortunately still no flying cars, which, let's be honest, is probably a good thing. There's some horrible drivers just on the road. I can't imagine flying around. Can you imagine? But real quick, because I do want to get onto the last 2 figures before the end of the show. Do you guys have any take on the DeLorean Mark III here from Hot Toys?
I think it's gorgeous, and in an ultimate massive display room that I don't have, then it'd be lovely to have all 3. I think I wouldn't choose this one if I could only have one, and like you, Ben, I've got the part 2, and that'd be my representation. But I do love it. I love the the little the handheld green, red, and orange for the fuel canister things and everything. I think it's great. I could have got one of these for there was a reseller in the UK that somebody had let their pre-order go, and they were going to sell it with that pre-order. They weren't giving it back, So I could have got one for a couple of £100 off, and I thought, well, but what am I going to do with it? I haven't got room for it. I haven't got the figures. I don't really like the figures. So it's one of those ones where it's like, no, just let that go. Let that go. But yeah, I think to me, I'd only have it if I had all three sets of figures. But it is gorgeous.
Sure.
Looks great.
I would love that display. I mean, I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. I always have been.
Yeah.
Again, almost a missed opportunity that at least hasn't been announced yet, like that locomotive time machine, because that is kind of the evolution of the time
huge,
machine.
though, isn't it?
But can you imagine the size? Like, we talk about the DeLorean already being, and the DeLorean fits in my display better than my Batmobile. Like my '89 Batmobile is way freaking bigger than the DeLorean.
Yeah, and I suppose the other question is, while we're in the year of the 2.0, do you think we'll get a reissue of the original one?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
Because I mean, they reissued the figures, right?
Yeah.
Like the doc.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't. They remade them. I wouldn't
they did
necessarily call
Doc
them
the first time, and they did Marty with
Marty's
with
a little different, but not even necessarily better. Like I've got that version. And
no.
you
So
know
I think
who he is when he's standing there. But
I think they'd be silly not to do a 2.0 of the original one now.
Yeah. I also think we'll get the movie 2 version of the figures again as well. Hopefully redone though.
Yeah.
You know, Doc in the yellow, the Mr.
They could do with this improving. Yeah.
For sure. Dave or Adam, do you guys have any thoughts on the DeLorean before we move on to the next figure? Just curious.
Well, you can see the
you got yours
number
behind
2.
you?
I just opened on Friday, so
Such
that's
a nice car, dude.
man, that's. I felt like
Congratulations. That's
I've
awesome.
always heard people say you got to get a vehicle, and I definitely this was something special taking that out of the box.
Hell yeah.
And I just a special nostalgia for me. My first job when I was a junior in high school was at my local movie theater, and it was right when Back to the Future 2 came out. So I remember seeing it several times in that movie theater after work. The third one, I love the movie, but it's my least favorite of them. And you know, I'm a big fan of Back to the Future. I just can't conceive of having 3. I guess if I had unlimited resources in space, that'd be awesome to have all 3. But if I had more space, which I don't, I would probably sooner get like the Tumbler or a Batmobile.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. You know, you mentioned you know, what an experience it was to kind of unbox that DeLorean, Adam. You know, I loved unboxing my DeLorean. I thought it was wonderful. Hello, how are you? I'm scared the shit out of him.
He wasn't expecting that.
I loved that DeLorean unboxing.
Yeah.
It actually made me feel slightly disappointed in my Batmobile, my Batman '89 Batmobile. Because while that's a great vehicle, don't get me wrong, it feels very much like a big chunk of plastic with just a couple lights on the inside. Whereas the DeLorean unboxing felt like a real car, like real cool.
Yeah.
So she's happy. She can come on if she wants to say hello, by the way.
Hey, you want to say hello? Come on over.
If she wants to say
Come
hi,
on
she's
over.
more than welcome.
Here.
She's like,
put this on. Say hello.
Hello, how's it going? Welcome to Let's Get Nuts.
Everything's going good. I just helped make chicken wings.
Nice.
Chicken wings.
Yeah, chicken wings.
Where's the chicken wings for the rest of us?
Oh, I would have cooked you. I would have cooked you guys.
Awesome.
I mean,
Good job on
we
your.
have barbecue and shake and bake. We have 2 kinds.
Oh my god. As long as they're gluten free, I'm celiac, so you know it's one of those things. But good job on your videos lately, by the way. You're a great contributor to your dad's videos. I think you guys are a pleasure to watch. You guys do a great job. Congratulations on 5,000 subscribers. That's a huge milestone for you guys.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations.
Running a channel myself, Lightwing. I only have 121 because I haven't been posting for a while, but that's because of like school and just all the assignments. And then there's art block and a mix of burnout. So I get that it's super hard to be a content creator, but I'm really proud of my dad.
Hell yeah. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job. And think of it as a hobby. Do it for fun. If you're doing it for fun, your subscribers will grow. Yeah, if people see that you're just genuine and you're just doing it for fun, and then you never know what could happen. So,
I love to do my art for fun.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it was nice to meet you. You're welcome to join your dad on the show anytime if you want to join us in the future. Okay.
All right. It was nice meeting
yeah.
you. Hello,
meet you.
chat.
Hold on, let's see here. Real quick. Give her a wave.
Bye.
All right. See ya. Perfect. Love to see the family in there. That's awesome, man, for sure. Guys, let's move on because we got two more real quick topics I want to address before we wrap the show today. I want to say a very special.
Hold on, I'm hearing thing here.
Oh, you're okay? Give me 1 second. I'll mute you.
Yeah, now I can hear. Okay. Yeah.
Beauty.
Yep, I'm good.
I want to say a very big special apologies to my 6-scale Star Wars friends out there in the world. I know that you guys know that I am a Star Trek fan, and often I am made fun of for being a Star Trek fan because everybody's like, "Oh, Star Wars is cooler than Star Trek," and I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. There is definitely room for both, but I put out a little jab at Star Wars the other day, looking at Plo Koon here, because I'm not a what's it called? Clone Wars fan, to be honest. I've tried. I've got through about the first season. I haven't got through the rest. I've recognized the character for sure. To me, it does look like he's got a turkey on his head, and I did put this in my Instagram, okay? And I had some people like it, and I'm sure I had some people immediately unsubscribe from my channel, so I apologize in advance. However, I have seen a collective excitement for Plo Koon from Clone Wars, of course. And of course, we did see that dude who looks like he's from Men in Black recently as well. The big squid face dude. Can't remember his name either. It's just not for me. Kit Fisto. It's just not for me, that show specifically. While I love original trilogy, I even like the prequels and some of the sequel. I just haven't been able to get into it yet, and that is what it is. Not all of us can love the same things. That's the cool part about art. But Pete, you are more familiar with Star Wars. Was this one that you were excited to see come into collectors?
No, not really. I think it's good that we're seeing some of these other Jedi characters that people wanted for ages, and the old sideshow ones are well due replacing. So I think it's good to see them. Certainly not something that he's one ugly looking mother, isn't he? So. And
I love aliens, though. I love freaking aliens, man.
And I can definitely see that turkey thing going on there now.
I can't unsee this now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm
looking at him and I'm like, oh, Thanksgiving's come again.
Yeah. So not for me, but good to see some
mass unsubscription from the channel, mass losses. Let's Get Nuts final show.
Just fleshing out those Jedis, and I think we'll see Ki-Adi-Mundi next, the Conehead guy. Yeah,
I got that sense too. That could be cool. Guys, I'm really excited for Star Wars fans. This is one of those ones where I say art is subjective. While I think objectively this figure looks freaking awesome and a great representation of the source material, it's just not for me. It's not for me. Adam, do you have any takes on this figure specifically?
Yeah, I mean, this goes along the lines of similar to good for Marvel Legends. This is good for Star Wars Black Series, and I mean, obviously I'm familiar with the character. I had the it's still in the basement, packed away. The Hasbro 3 3/4-inch figure of Plo Koon. Right. I don't think I ever got the Marvel Legends, but to justify spending that kind of money for literally a background character, the guy to stand behind someone, I don't think I can do. But there are some people who, maybe they're more centered on just prequel era figures, or the Clone Wars, and I know he was important in recruiting Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars cartoon. So I could see, I definitely can see why someone's excited for this character. Hell yeah. But this is not going to be on my holiday wish list.
That's fair. 12-inch Moose Stream says, I think you'd have to be a lover of Star Wars Clone Wars to want these enough to buy. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting today that the theme of the show today, and maybe it's fitting for it being an end of year show, right? Where we've now had this year, we can look back and go all the figures we bought, all the things that we want, all the things that we're still paying for. We've talked about prioritization of figures and characters, and is that nostalgic punch, or is it cool, but maybe I'd move it on if I get it? Like, this for me is one of those, like, hey, if somebody bought me a Plo Koon, I would put it in the display happily, but if I needed a space for something else, it might be the first one that would go. And on the other hand, there are collectors out there who are like, man, if they give us everything from this line, right? You know, Pop Culture Relics, our buddy, you know, give me that Jedi Council, 100%. That's the best thing, and that's what will separate collection tours from everybody else. Plug Pop Culture Relics collection channel starts in 30 minutes. It's going up live in 30 minutes on Pop Culture Relics channel. Don't forget to watch it. We got one more figure to talk about, guys, and of course that is the 2099 suit here from the Spider-Verse films. I'll be honest. I've said this before, and I got to keep my take consistent. This was my least favorite character from the movie, the second film. Across the Spider-Verse? Yeah. It was my least favorite character because he, for some reason, was a dick for absolutely no reason to Miles.
Tell him again.
I feel like half the reason that movie even had any conflict as a result was because he was a dick for no reason. If he had just hung out and just talked to Miles, that it was like movie for the sake of a movie. It felt like it forced kind of a MacGuffin-y plot line into it. And while I loved the chase scene and I thought the character looked badass, and I love Oscar Isaac, I thought he did a great job voicing the character, all good stuff. But it was like, man, like, why are you such a dick? I don't really want to put him in my collection as a result, which is a damn shame, because the character and the figure looks freaking so cool. And then there was, of course, the controversy of when this prototype went up. The figure on the left is what we saw as a prototype. The figure on the right is what we're getting. And wow, is that a massive difference in what we thought we might get versus what we ultimately got. And that was met with some criticism. I remember doing a this or that video when they showed what they were changing the material type to, you know, this or that. And I had a lot of collectors be like, I'm upset. I like the jointed look of the figure. That's the one that I wanted. And now we're getting this thing. But I'll say that initial change, when they highlighted what it was changing to, looked puffy. The suit looked really kind of beefy and not as slender and elegant as what this final version has looked like. They've done a lot of work here to, in my opinion, make this look good. Now, people are saying, oh, it looks like it's a whole new body. I actually don't think so. I think it's actually the body that you see on the left, just under a suit on the right. Proportionally where the abdomen section is, to be honest, it looks very similar in its shape, just with an outer kind of skin over top of it. So my question is for you guys, and in the chat as well, was this a win for collectors? Was this change a win? Because we've seen other 2.0s, or we've seen other, upgrades, right? You talked about the Mantis earlier, Adam. That Mantis I thought was beautiful on prototype stage, and then they changed it even more to look even more like Mantis, and it was like, oh my God, that's so good. This was one of those upgrades that people were very 50-50 on, very mixed on, but the final result looks amazing. Adam, what are your thoughts on this this final version that's coming to our collections?
Well, first of all, I share my reaction is I thought he was a dick in that movie, and I wasn't quite sure why. I still love the movie, and
sure, great movie.
This has kind of been Oscar Isaac's week, right? This character and Moon Knight. I guess the main difference is a concern now is if you keep him outside of the museum pose, there might be issues with the costume. Is that kind of what the main concern is, as opposed to before? It was a little more. I don't want to say action figure-y, but
yeah,
you can make those poses without fear of damaging the figure.
100%.
Yeah, and I think that's the concern now. Listen, if you're
the
all
dynamic
in,
posability, I think, is what turned people off. The people who wanted the joints on there wanted that really dynamic posability, but this still looks pretty freaking dynamic.
I think if you're all in on the Spider-Verse line, if you got Miles, you have Spider-Gwen, the other Spider-Man figures, then you're gonna get this. I don't see too many people just getting Spider-Man 2099, but they don't have the other figures. This is kind of like the Bad Batch. You're probably just not going to get one Bad Batch figure. You're going to get, unless you're getting Crosshair because you think that's the figure. That's the the chase figure.
Mm.
Other than that, I think this is something someone's all in. I'm not. I love both films. I would like to get Miles. He's sold out on Sideshow before I had a chance to pick him up, and that might be something I might pick up down the road. Miles and or Gwen, but I'm not going that far down the spider hole, no pun intended, to get this.
Gross. Yeah, love to see it. Okay. Had to add it in. I don't know. Yeah, you didn't sell me on it yet, Adam. You didn't sell me on it. Santa Claus, sell me on this figure, man. What do you think people need to have this in their collection versus maybe just want it because it looks cool?
You know, sometimes you need a good dick.
I guess that's fair. Let's get nuts. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
No, man, I agree, like 100%. He just for no reason was just the biggest jerk. And it's like I like Miguel O'Hara from back in, the comics when it happened, For those of us who were there, this was really cool. And I'm glad to finally see that, because the video game didn't do 2099 correctly. They gave him those weird fingernail claws, and that wasn't right. And that was a bother for me. And I'm glad that the movie did it right, and subsequently Hot Toys did it right because the movie did it right. But I think he looks great. I think he would be a fantastic figure on the shelf. Not one for me. I do have one Spider-Verse figure on order, and that's Spider-Punk. And
that's a great looking figure, man.
It is, but again, like I said, with everything else going on, I'm on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to keep him. I may cancel it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you never can tell. But he is the one that I actually really want. And this is really cool too. But I don't know. I think he looks great. I think he'll be a good addition to anybody's collection. I know he's going to look really good with all the other ones. Like I'm really excited to see what Brick does with his Spider-Man display.
Brick's collections is so good.
Yeah, like when you have something that's just laser focused like that, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the upgrade is, I think the upgraded was necessary because the original idea, just go buy a friggin' Marvel Legend.
Yeah, fair.
If
you really want that jointed look, right? Like if you really
because even if the scale is the issue, like this doesn't really look like it belongs with the rest of the Spider-Verse figures because they're not all weirdly jointed like this.
Huge criticism back when it was first announced, 100%.
Yeah, and and again, another point was like people were like, this looks like a Mondo figure. Yeah, it does, and it's going to cost more than a Mondo figure, and it's not going to have near the accessories.
And Mondo's not cheap, let's be honest. But
no, Mondo's not cheap, but they're not as much as Hot Toys. And for the Mondo figures that are as much as a lower end Hot Toy cost, you're getting so much more out of it. You're getting so many accessories. You're getting so many sculpts. You're getting so many different hands, or so many different, little things to muck around with. Like that Lion-O figure was $250, I want to say, $245 maybe, and he had 4 head sculpts, a cape, and he had multiples of everything that he came with. That was, you just don't get that kind of, you wouldn't get that with this. So that is a point of contention too. But I think it's a great figure. I think whoever gets it is going to be really happy with it. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Well said, buddy. No, good said. Well said, and definitely sold a little bit more now. Like only a little bit though, because I still like women mostly. But I'm just saying, good try, good try. Somebody's gonna clip that, that, 100%. Yeah, can't. What happens on Let's Get Nuts should stay on Let's Get Nuts. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. It's like Vegas in this place. Pete, what are your thoughts, my friend, on 2099 suit here? Some of the controversy around how they, upgraded it in quotes from what it looked like here on the left to what's on the right.
Yeah.
How do you think it shook out? Is it a fit for the display?
It looks okay, and I think they've improved it. But Ben, why aren't we talking about Exo 6 Sulu from Undiscovered Country?
We could. I thought I'd lose people. I didn't. I thought I'd lose
No,
people.
I don't want to lose you any viewers. But
I have done a preview video on it. So if you guys are interested in my take, there is the
that's
is
cool.
the video
I've
on the
got
channel.
a pre-order in for that. So yeah.
Botox Sulu.
Let me see if I sold you on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on this one, buddy?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind it. There's definitely an improvement as we've talked about. There's some figures that are just fit for Marvel Legends, and I think definitely in the old version you might as well just have the Marvel Legends, it's just like a big scaled up version of it. I definitely prefer the new look. As I say, it's not for me. I wouldn't be collecting anything from this line, but I think I prefer it, and I think in terms of dynamic posing with my Spider-Man, I just go for it. You can always a little bit of steam will pull that outfit back into shape if you end up wanting to repose it or sell it on or anything. So I think it's a massive shame when people just display Spider-Man figures straight up and down museum pose, because that's like they're never in that. Just go for it. Just enjoy the figure. Very normally, unless you get an issue where you've bent an arm so much that you get material touching material, and you occasionally get issues where that could peel away. In terms of stretch marks, they can be steamed out. So yeah, enjoy your Spider-Man figures. Get them in those poses, because that's where they shine.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Rick Artemis. Make sure you tune into his channel, because I'm confident that he's going to get this in the display and have a great video on it. He, tried to destroy a Miles Morales head sculpt with Coca-Cola recently.
Wow.
And nothing happened, shockingly.
That was impressive.
I was shocked by that. I thought it would.
It was very impressive.
I thought it would destroy it, but I loved the concept of the video, because it's just like so good for like clickbait and like what will happen, and it was entertaining to watch. And I liked seeing his face, as he kind of progressed through the motions of it. So definitely check out Rick Artemis's channel there. Shout out to you, buddy, for having a sweet looking Spider-Man display. Let me quickly pull this up here for us, because Blurred Dad Life did use his channel membership token to say Captain Sulu is coming home. He loved the Undiscovered Country. I love the Undiscovered Country as well. Easily one of my favorite of those original films. I would say that for me, I always used to watch it in order. How would I have watched it? I loved Wrath of Khan. I always really enjoyed Search for Spock, though. I don't know what it was about that movie I really enjoyed. And again, I've got Krug sitting out in my kitchen right now. I can't wait to look at that figure in hand. But the Undiscovered Country is a guilty favorite to watch as well. It was a great movie. I loved seeing them in the Klingon prison in the beginning there and getting out. And that shape-shifting woman, she was always crazy. Yeah, right.
And
that was
a big
awesome.
send-off for that crew as well, even though we saw some of them later on.
For sure.
And Endgame ripped that off at the end with the end of Endgame, where they had like the main Avengers, and they had the credits roll with them signing off. That was a rip off from Star Trek 6.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Good catch, buddy. And I would say this Sulu sculpt, I don't think it's as strong as the Mirror verse one.
No.
But he's older. And seeing a Captain Sulu in there, I think is kind of exciting. I know some Exo 6 collectors, they're really just looking at displaying captains as their like main line. And as a result, this is a captain that I feel like you shouldn't miss then, Captain of the Excelsior, right? And I think he looks good. I love that teacup. I think that looks freaking fantastic.
And I think as we can read Nanjin as he speaks, and it's a difficult job sometimes, is going to be the only complete bridge crew in this uniform. So Wrath Khan's not going to get. It's only going to get. Well, it's got Savick. It's going to get the big three. So that's why I've jumped on this, because I want that entire crew in the maroon. Yeah. So
for sure. And I'm still a little critical of the photos sometimes that they do, and I don't know who took these ones. 6-Scale Mafia, shout out to Anthony. He's done some wonderful figure photography for Exo 6, and I really wish they would hire him all the time. I don't know if these are his photos or not, but these ones, some of them are really blurry and are blown out a little bit. Some of them, the face looks a little different in one picture versus another. so like again, no knock on anybody. I don't know whose photos they are, but I do still hope that Exo-6 starts to control the message a little bit better, because I think oftentimes, especially for Trek collectors, when we get these in hand, we love them, right? They're so, like, when I talk about nostalgic punch in the chest, Star Trek is there for me. But I'm sticking mostly to Next Generation Bridge Crew right now. Like I said, Beverly Crusher's has been delayed. Picard's been delayed. But I'm thinking of how I'm going to display the Bridge Crew in its entirety. I think that will look really, really cool. But there's a couple of outliers in there. I've got Locutus. I've got First Contact Data. I've got Krug, right? There's going to be a few that I sprinkle in. I think I'll skip on this version of Sulu, or Sulu in general. I think if I'm going to go original trilogy, I think I'd rather see original trilogy proper in their their Starfleet uniforms. You know, Kirk, Spock, Sulu, McCoy, and maybe Chekhov. Like the 4 there, I think could be really amazing. But again, that's just a whole other line and a whole other discussion. But this looks like the pre-order end date for Sulu here is, where is it at? December 30th of 2024. If you're ordering directly from Exo-6, typically I get mine from Sideshow, not a plug to Sideshow. I get nothing from them, just for a heads up. But that's in Canada. That's where I get mine from. It's just that the wait is a lot longer. Like people have had their Krug in their collection already for months. And I'm just getting mine from Sideshow.
Yeah, I've gone direct with Exo-6, so we'll see. Yeah. Let you know how it goes.
I'm still waiting, and I'm glad we're talking, because Ben, you and I have talked. I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I have above me, I have the Kirk and Spock from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I would love to get McCoy, but I kind of a head scratcher.
The disco.
Why they would release the disco version and not in a Starfleet outfit. Now, depending on how the release videos look, I still may get that McCoy, because I don't have another McCoy out there, and they've been teasing Wrath of Khan, Kirk's the big 3, for a year and a half, and we still don't have.
They've just released some pictures of McCoy, haven't they, with the actual head sculpt you can see, and he should be going out early next year as pre-order.
For the disco one, or Wrath of Khan?
No, the Wrath of Khan.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot to have. And I also don't necessarily want repeated characters, so then I have to choose like what film that I'd want them from then. It's a whole thing. Movie canon, this is not from Next Generation. This is from the film The Undiscovered Country. Which is a great film. I would definitely recommend those original ones. I think if you're looking for
grandfather is in this.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think if you're looking for an entry point into the Star Trek films, I still think The Wrath of Khan is probably the best entry point.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it goes directly into Search for Spock, which I think is a great kind of twofold film setup to watch if you're going to watch any of them. The Voyage Home, I always had a bit of a guilty pleasure for that one as well, but it was always like my least favorite of those movies. I think overall. The original motion. That's 5. Yeah, Star Trek. Was it 5? Yeah.
No, 4's Voyage Home, but 5 is Final Frontier, is the one that most people hate.
I don't even know if I really watched that one, to be honest, now that you say that. Yeah, I don't even really remember that one at all. Interesting, right? I had the box set where it showed the Enterprise, like when you had it in the box, like all of the different ones. But what were you going to say, Adam?
Actually, Blurred Life Dad, just maybe you want to read that, because that's what I was going to ask.
We got a super chat from Blurred Dad Life, one of our great channel members. Thank you for the generosity, good sir. He says, have you all watched the Unification video? I haven't watched it yet, but I've actually had a couple of collectors send it to me, so it's in my to watch pile. This is for you really quick, Blurred Dad.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Adam, do you want to mention that, or?
I would. It's wonderful, and I gotta tell you, I cried like a baby at the end of watching it. Now, maybe I was a little more emotional because we just lost one of our dogs, and it kind of made me more connected to me a little more. But if you grew up, I didn't grow up at the time Star Trek was out. I watched the reruns when I was a kid, and I grew up with the original films with Kirk and Spock, Star Trek, Wrath of Khan, and motion picture 3, 4, except 5 and 6, Next Generation. If you grew up with that, and Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock have a special place in your heart, you have to see this short Unification. And I tell you, I really wish that Paramount would give the keys to the franchise to these folks at Otoy to be a part of that, because I think there's a lot that can be done, and it's wonderful. Shatner's involved in it. You mentioned Savick, Robin Curtis, who played Savick in Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4. She's in it. It's beautiful. You really have to watch it.
I'll send you the link, Pete. I'll send you the link for sure. Want a quick shout out?
We found it on YouTube, so yeah, cool.
Okay, perfect. We got D'Lo the Collector here with us. Good to see you, buddy. D'Lo also just put up a channel collection tour about a week ago now, maybe a bit less. Amazing collection, dude.
Yeah.
The figure displays, they're so good. They're so good. So do yourself a favor, everybody watching, or all 1,000 people that'll watch on the replay. Go watch D'Lo the Collector's video after this. He put some time into that display, and you can tell there's some
masterclass.
Great job. Great
job.
job.
I ripped off a few of his. Yeah, I ripped off a few of his poses. They're so good.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of us did. Let's be honest. There were some amazing ones in there. So, yeah, good job, buddy. Good job. So,
show them how it's done.
Let us know also in the comments, maybe on the comments on replay. Do me a favor. You know, I think I'm one of the only 6-scale collectors right now that talks Star Trek pretty consistently. Every Exo 6 release, you'll always see a preview video from me. But I'm never totally sure what the interest would be engaging like maybe a live stream dedicated to Trek and Trek fans out there. You know, I'd love to have Adam on and Pete and whoever else wants to join and get in on the Trek conversation. I've talked to Anthony a couple times, 6-scale Mafia, about joining as well. He has to be a little more, or he can't be as... he can't talk too much about Exo 6. He has to keep it a little bit on the down low for that, because he works with them. So he's got to just be a little bit concerned of conflict of interest, which is okay. But we could definitely go in hard on Trek and favorite films, maybe favorite episodes, favorite series. So let me know if there's some engaged interest in Trek. I'd be happy to maybe break it up into some segments. Maybe we could talk OG trilogy and then, or the films, I should say, and then the you know, the different shows. So let me know, guys. That's it for today. I got to wrap it up because I want to respect my panelists' time and everybody's time here. I want to say a quick thank you to our channel members here, the Tough Nut Crew. If you are interested in becoming part of the Tough Nut Crew, the link is in the chat right now. Click it. It's $1.99, gets you in the membership here, but it also means that it'll put you in the running for our figure giveaway at 50,000 subscribers. We just hit 13 million channel views. Thank you to everybody who watches and supports me on the show. You guys are amazing. I keep expecting somebody to eventually say, your contact's horrible, stop, but I never get that. So many people are like, thank you for the video. And it makes me feel good because, as you guys know, as YouTube creators or anybody, YouTube creators that are watching even in the panel or in the chat right now, this stuff takes time. It takes a lot of time to put it together. So when people enjoy it and watch it, that's the best part for me. So, but guys, a special shout out to the Tough Nut Crew. We got Elvin J collecting weekly money Medis figures and fandom. That is, of course, Evil Sneaker. He has changed his name of his channel to Figures and Fandom. So make sure you connect with Sneaker there as well. He said you can call him either, whatever works for you. He's got great stuff there. We got 6-scale Mafia, 1/6 figure focus, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, the Batman, the Movie Canon, Parks Industries, SpongeBob Square Balls. Shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for jumping in the show today and giving everybody a Merry Christmas. We love you, man. Can't wait to get you back to full strength and on the show. We got Rogue One Photography, Peter Castle, 1 Adam 12, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Rachel Miller, Jose G. Hernandez, or Jose Plus YouTube channel as well, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Balls, Honest Hansel, Pop Culture Relics, Harry Dempsey, Figurecraft, Trevor Weed, Big Rib, X-Men Supreme, Don Maton, Figure in a Bubble, Valkyrie Magnus, Brick Artemis, Alex Serrato, and OG Fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars. Thank you so much, guys. With the movie canon here, Gio giving us a Christmas tree to say hello and happy Christmas to everybody, of course, with his membership channel there as well. We love you guys. Thank you so much. One quick note there as well. Let me reduce this screen really quick, guys. Bear with me here. Apologies. Should have been ready. We got Pop Culture Relics. I mentioned this earlier today. Go over to this YouTube channel today, guys. His video for the 1/6 figure showcase starts in 7 minutes from now. So after the show here, pop over there and check out his stream. I know he's been, or not stream, but his video. I know he's put a lot of time and effort into those collection tours. I think mine took me about 2 weeks to film it. It goes a lot. And again, Pop Culture Relics, D-Lo the Collector. Make sure you check out those collection displays. Guys, I'll keep it very brief. Channel membership, these are what comes with it. Become a channel member if you like. If not, I'm just happy to have you here either way. Pete, is there anything coming up for you in life, good sir, that you're excited about before we wrap the show today?
Well, as I say, we brought OFAC back last week, so if you haven't checked that out, please give us a watch on the Collecting Weekly network. It was good to be back, and we should be back more regularly next year. You'll see me on the Collecting Weekly Awards show on Tuesday, which would be very early, about 3 o'clock in the morning for me here. But I do it every year. I wouldn't miss it. So hopefully see some of you guys there.
Hell yeah, buddy. Yeah, definitely love to be back on that at some point. I know you guys are usually somewhere in the middle of the afternoon for me, but if I know it's happening in advance, I can try to make sure I'm available.
Yeah, that'd be
love to
cool.
Jump back on with you boys at some point.
Yeah,
so,
brilliant. Always welcome, Ben.
For sure. For sure. Pop Culture Relics says, just came out, Ben. Thanks for the shout out, brother. Go over and watch that show immediately after Let's Get Nuts today. One Adam 12 just hit 5,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Got a chance to meet your daughter in person today. She's lovely. She's always welcome to pop in with you for a couple minutes if she's ever interested in doing so as well. Is there anything coming up for you, buddy, that you're excited to share with us before we wrap today?
Yeah, well, for Ben, Pete, Dave, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and everyone in chat. Happy Festivus for the rest of us.
Love it.
So before, along with Dave, we hop on GeoStream in a little over an hour. I'm gonna get those chicken wings that my wife made. So I'm looking forward to that. That's my immediate future. Getting the chicken wings.
I hope they're not cold on you at this point. I apologize in advance.
That's all right. I have a few figures that we'll be unboxing once Emily gets on break here soon, and her and I are going to be doing before the New Year's an award show where I'm gonna wear like my nice business suit, and she's gonna wear like her prom gown, and it's gonna be like the Oscars except for 1/6 scale, and like but it's gonna be like unique categories. And the categories, because I got to be fair, it's only gonna be based on the figures that I bought this year. So, but it'll be, which is, happily or sadly, I don't know. It's a lot of figures. It's a lot of figures. But that's gonna come out before New Year's. We gotta film that maybe on around Christmas time. But other than that, looking forward to an enjoyable family. Everyone gets to spend time with their family and your friends and your loved ones, whoever they might be, and just be blessed. And we send our prayers to Classy and hope all is well, and he's back here soon.
Oh yeah, well said, buddy. Thanks for being here. Pete, again, thanks for being here as well, buddy. Appreciate you guys as always. Big long show today, but it was good for the final end of the year show for sure. Santa Claus, X-Men Supreme, Dave, my friend, anything coming up for you in life, good sir, that you're excited about before we wrap the day?
Just getting ready to get on this Canon Council and knock down some tiers, man. It's gonna be a good show, I think. Hope to see everybody over there. It's always good to be on here with you, Ben. I always appreciate the invite. The chance to demonetize anybody is always a fun time.
We did good today, actually. It was almost like PG today. I feel like we need to almost like sprinkle it in
sometimes
a little bit,
a little something for the kids every now and again, Yeah. But wonderful speaking with you, Pete. Always, Adam, as always, a pleasure, and it will be again in another hour here to see you again. Great seeing the chat. Always have some fun, wacky stuff to say, and it's just wonderful, man. So always be glad and grateful for this community that we've got. It's just a great thing that we have here, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, thanks so much for being here to my panel. Appreciate you guys spending a couple hours here on a Sunday with me. Just so you guys know, obviously, if you're here, you're already watching the Ben Thomas Show. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. This will be the last Let's Get Nuts of 2024. You'll see us back in January, but that doesn't mean the channel stops. I'm sure there's going to be some cool figure releases over the next couple weeks, maybe some announcements, so stay tuned for my thoughts on those. I also am planning to do kind of my top 10 figures of 2024 list, as well as my kind of top 10 anticipated figures of 2025. So stay tuned for that. I'll definitely be working on a couple videos as well, and if I have the time, I may try to do a collection tour again as well, because it's been a little while since I did one of those. But stay tuned for that. Brick Artemis says maybe Ben will invite me in 2025. You've always been invited. I don't like. I'm just gonna add you to the Let's Get Nuts chat, and then you can just come anytime you want, buddy. So, well, in a good way at least. So it is freaking hot in here, guys. That is the whole show for today. I'm on display. You hate to see it, guys. Of course, with all of that said, I hope that you all have a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us so many weeks this year. Stay safe out there. Don't fall to FOMO. Don't let the FOMO spend your money. Be strategic. Have a happy and safe holiday for everybody. Live long and prosper, as always. Pete, with that said, we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you in the new year.
Wow, what a great order. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Where's I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.